Hey, that book I sent y'all, that was David Icke's The Biggest Secret I Told. It has a piece on something that we're gonna be dealing with this afternoon. So that's why I sent it.
I heard Bruce say,
All right, so we get praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. But you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my word? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Shalom, Emma Sharona. Shalom, Jess. You know, you just jumped on here. It reminded me that I didn't respond to you, and I seen that. That's why I be responding real fast, because if I don't, I forget. So I'm going to do this here so I can respond to that when I get finished. That's exactly why I text back like that, because I be forgetting. If I don't, my mind be bad. So, Psalms 45 and 1.
My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the things which I have made touching the king. My tongue depend of a ready writer. You are fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured into your lips. Therefore, Elohim will baruch you forever.
That's good. What you finna ask me?
I would tell you.
No, go ahead.
Like, I know the Ruach HaKodesh for everybody. We already know the scripts for that. But how you get around when
Shalom, Tavon.
Like, no, if you go read Hebrews 8, it says the new covenant is the Holy Spirit for the house of Israel and the house of Judah. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, you're talking about
Bruce say that.
Jeremiah 31 and 31.
Yeah. Because a nigga asked, he was like, the Holy Spirit is for everybody.
I got you. The question is what do you say to somebody who say the Holy Ghost is only for the children of Israel? So I'm like this. Jeremiah 31 and 31.
So behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and with the house of Yehuda.
Mm-hmm.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them.
I was a husband.
But this,
Shalom, Jay.
The covenant that I'll make with the house of Yasharal, after those days, saith Yahuwah, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
Paul, see, this is the conversation that we just had actually earlier. Conversation that's pertaining to who salvation is for. What does it mean? Give me 1 John 2 and 1. What does it mean for the whole world? But this still is going to tie back to what we're talking about, which is the sons of God conversation, which is very easy to ascertain. Now, we do have several books that we're going to look at. I did put in the chat The Biggest Secret Ever Told by David Icke. The reason why I put it in there because his first 2 chapters are about Sumerian deities. We still have the stuff with Marduk and the things of that nature, and to give some insight as it pertains to that. But 1 John 2 and 1.
My little children, these things write I unto you, that you sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Abba, Yahushua HaMashiach the righteous. He is a propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also the whole world.
Go ahead and let her know what propitiation means. Shalom, Brother Marvin. Peace, East, man.
That's halasmos, and appeasing, propitiating, the means of appeasing, an expiator.
The means of appeasing, an atonement. Give me Romans 5 and 11.
And not only, but we also joy in Elohim through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom we have now received the atonement.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore,
hold on, that you received the who?
The atonement.
The who?
The atonement.
Okay.
Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world.
By what man? How many men?
By one man.
Well, who's this one man? I don't know. Tell us, Paul.
And death by sin, so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law.
Hold on, have all sinned, or just Israel sinned?
All men, for that all have sinned.
All men have sinned, or just all the Israelites sinned?
All have sinned.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I can't read. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I passed my reading exam to get out of high school. Go ahead.
For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law.
Hold on, the sin is not imputed when there is no what?
No law.
That's how we know the tree of knowledge and good and evil was the law, because there was no sin imputed to Adam in the garden, because there was no law. That's how we know that. Peace, Joseph, man. Come on.
Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses.
Death reigned from who?
Adam to Moses.
So death started with him. My God, today. Go ahead.
Even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression.
Even over the similitude of those who had not what?
Of Adam's sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression.
So this is a complete component that we were having in this conversation this morning. What a lot of Israelites do is they want to act like nothing in the word started until Mount Sinai. So you know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing that most Israelites are concerned with. Because Emma asked this question, a question that I've said, well, not a question, something I done told you numerous times. You can't go in the Bible in a single solitary location and find anyone preaching identity gospel at any time. At any time. You're not going to find it. It ain't there. Isaiah didn't do it. Jeremiah didn't do it. Ezekiel didn't do it. Nahum didn't do it. Zechariah didn't do it. Zephaniah didn't do it. Obadiah didn't do it. Jonah didn't do it. Habakkuk didn't do it. Solomon didn't do it. The writers of the Psalms didn't do it. In the book of Esther, it wasn't done. It's not done in none of the Chronicles of the Kings. It's not done in either book of Samuel. It's not done in Yahushua son of Nun. It's definitely not done in the law when Moses talking to the Israelites. It wasn't done. It wasn't done in Acts. It wasn't done in the epistle letters. Peace, Brother Omar. It wasn't done in the Gospels. And you know why it wasn't done? Because of the very thing that we discussed last night. How did these people identify themselves? By their gods. That's how you identify a people. They didn't even know that Jonah was a Hebrew last night. Did they even know? Did they even care when he said, oh, I'm an Israelite? They say, man, you need to call your God, cuz. That's what you need to do. Because we calling on ours. We just want to know why we in this rain. Oh, it's because of you? Well, hey, man, why you brought this on us? See, a lot of people are not skillful in understanding of the way. Let me not even say that. What people have is recency bias. Do you know what that means? Recency bias is that, shalom, Eric, man, is that you see the whole history of mankind through the dispensation of time that you're in. So you believe that the world operates the way the world is operating now through all history. Case in point, things we done mentioned before. The aspect of a stay-at-home mother. That is a new thing in the earth. That is not something that was commonplace in human history. There was no such thing as a stay-at-home mom. You know why? Because this was agricultural people for the most part. So everybody participated in the labor for the benefit of the family and the group. Indeed, Omar. I want to say people are also futurists, thinking things are better now than they were in the past. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to remember that. Like I said, a stay-at-home wife is not a new thing. That is a new thing in the earth. That was not something that was done throughout human history where the woman stayed home and took care of the kids. That's a fantasy that they painted for you in TV. If you open up a book and read it, you should know that. All of y'all went to school and was taught about the frontiersmen and about all the work them women were doing. White women, because that's the narrative that black people like to push, that white women ain't never did nothing and you just had this hard, difficult life. All women work. Now, if you want to talk about in the construct of American corporate society, then no. But you're talking about a small snapshot of human history. The snapshot of a racial construct, Lord Marshman let you know that today that it was even a shorter time period than I surmised. Only since the 1800s has race as a construct even been pushed in the earth. These people didn't live like that. And if you go study history, racism was never a thing. White supremacy was never a thing. That's new. That's new. That is absolutely new. When you understand it, when you understand that, then these things won't have no power over you. Because you would understand that clearly someone created this for the purpose of oppressing people as a whole. Because see, racism in and of itself does not just oppress black people, it oppresses everyone on the earth, whether they know it or not. You know what I'm saying? You've been manipulated. What that man told you, you've been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked. You know what I'm saying? You've been got. And it's hard for you to acknowledge and admit that someone deceived you, but not deceived you in the way that you thought you was deceived. They made you believe that your way of life and your way of thinking and your way of seeing the world what was true and is false. That hurts. That stings to the soul, because now you begin to question everything about who you are as an individual. Am I really who I think I am? Look at all these women on the internet screaming about I ain't going to do 50-50. And there was no such thing in the earth for no one to argue. Because if this man was working in the field and she was doing this, and the kids were over here doing this, you know why? Because there wasn't no school for them to go to. There wasn't no public school you sent them off to. There was no Starbucks you could go get a Frappuccino from. This is not how human beings live for the majority of human existence. You know what I'm saying? So you have to keep that stuff in mind, man. It's a game they're running. You say old times seemed like this tribe, that tribe, bloodlines were important over skin. Bloodlines were more important over skin. That's how they identified themselves, by tribe. And we didn't talk about that. Tribalism, by tribe and by God. Like I said, if you go in the ancient Near East, you notice every race of people that's mentioned in this book, their God is always mentioned with them. Let me see how good your memory is. Who was the God of the Ammonites? Who was the Shalom, brother Marcus? Who was the God of the Ammonites? No. Dagon's another people. Who was it? Who was the Dagon is the God of the Philistines. Who was the God of the Ammonites? Y'all know who it is. Don't overthink it. We mentioned him last night. Molech was the god of the Ammonites. You know what I'm saying? Who was the god of the Moabites? Baal Peor. You know what I'm saying? That's how they identified people. I don't know if they put Esau gods by name in this book. But that's how the people were identified. They were identified by their God. You notice that each people that was put in the land in 2 Kings 17, they mentioned who their God was. Most Hamites, quote unquote, their God was Baal. Who was the God of the Canaanites? Baal. And it made mention who these people gods were, because that's how you identified who was who. Oh, he worshiped Baal Peor? Oh, that's the people of such and such. You know what I'm saying? If you was again that time and you mentioned Marduk, you're going to know, oh, Abraham come from Ur Chaldees, correct? So who would be the God of where is Ur and Chaldees? That's in the heart of Mesopotamia. So his gods would have been Marduk. I'm trying to remember his name. Laban, Assyrian, right? He going to be where? In Samaria, correct? In that region. Remember, it said Rachel took his gods and hid them. He more than likely worshiped Marduk. He said, I think there are over 70 languages that are after the time. And I would agree with you on that. Thank you. Read me Ezra 2:53 and Nehemiah 7:55. And we found that where they mentioned the name, the God of the Edomites by name. I appreciate that. I never recalled what the name of their gods was. I never focused on it. So he said, oh, Hadad was big in Syria as well. Indeed. I just want you to understand the mindset, to understand. That's why we talk about that from time to time. That's how the people were identified. The Egyptians were identified by, if you say Osiris, you know that's an Egyptian. And of course, they wouldn't say Osiris, they would say Asar and Aset and Heru. That's what they would say for Osiris, Isis, and Horus. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So with the tribes and everything, when you say it's more classism, not racism.
Now, there was classism amongst people, absolutely.
So we talked to somebody in Jamaica. They said that they don't have racism. they all the same. As even white people, even they war, this classism.
Classism is definitely more prevalent. Now that has been throughout every society in the history of mankind. You know what I'm saying? Classism is definitely a thing. That's what that the epistle of James chapter 2 is about. When he say, when you would tell the man in the gay clothing, come sit right here, and then tell the person in the pole clothes to sit over there, with having respect the person. Now, classism has always been a thing because that's what makes the difference in people. You know what I'm talking about? Your wealth and your status. You know what I'm talking about?
Will that fall in with slavery as well?
Now, slavery was different because slavery has been something that's been instituted since human beings pretty much been on the earth. And that's just for the purpose of servitude if I'm the ruling class. You know what I'm saying? Now, the slavery that our people experienced was definitely shalom, Brother Galden, man. Shalom, Brother Robert. It was definitely a more brutal form, to say the least. And that's barely saying something. Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's outstanding. Let's go ahead and retrieve that now. We'll have that set up and ready to go. Thank you, Ezra. Come on to give me Ezra 2 and 53.
Say the children of Barkos,
Shalom, Mika.
the children of Sisera, the children of Thamah, the children of Neziah, the children of Hataphah, the children of Solomon's servants, the children of Sotai, the children of Sophereth, the children of Peruda, the children of Jalad, the children of Darkon, the children of Gedel, the children of Shephatiah, the children of Hatil, the children of Pophareth, of Zebaim, and the children of Ami. All the Nephilims and the children of Solomon's servants, 392.
Where you reading it?
That was 53. I just thought that 53.
Okay, that's good. Because that's the priest. Let's see what Nehemiah 7 and 55 say. Okay, hold on. Let me see something real quick.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, that's the genealogy of priest. Hold on. All right, boom. The Edomites had various different gods that they worshiped. The national god of Edom was known as Koz. He was a fertility god. He was popular during the Persian and Hellenistic periods. Yeah, and his name is mentioned in Ezra and Nehemiah. That might have been what them verses at. Let me look and see. Probably with this barcode and what his name is. The gods worshipped by the Edomites, who were related to the Levanites, Semites, and Arabs, and they worship other gods also. Go to 2 Chronicles 25, because that's where I was going to head to with Amaziah. Let me see what verse, because he took them down and then he ended up worshiping their gods. Give me start at verse 1.
Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother, Jehoiadan of Jerusalem. And he did right in the sight of Yahuwah, but not with a perfect heart. Now it came to pass when the kingdom was established to him that he slew his servants.
So what's happening, homie?
That he had killed the king, his father.
Shalom, Brother Shaul.
Or that he slew his servants that had killed the king, his father. But he slew not their children. But written in the law in the book of Moses, where Yahuwah commanded, saying, the father shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers. But every man shall die for his own sin. Moreover, Amaziah gathered Yehudah together and made them captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, according to the houses of fathers, throughout all Yehudah and Benjamin. And he numbered them 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men to go forth to war that could handle spear and shield.
Listen.
He hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Yasharal for 100 talents of silver. And there came a man of Elohim to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Yasharal go with you, for Yahuwah is not with Yasharal, all the children of Ephraim. But if you will go, do it, be strong for the battle. Elohim shall make you fall before the enemy. For Elohim have power to help and to cast down.
Go to verse 11.
And Amaziah strengthened himself and led forth his people, and went to the valley of Salt, and smote the children of Seir 10,000.
Go ahead.
And 10,000 alive did the children of Yehudah carry away captive, and brought them up unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they were all broken in pieces.
Go to verse 14.
Now it came to pass after that Amaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir and set them up, his gods, and bowed down himself before them.
And did what?
Burned incense unto them.
Wherefore?
The anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Amaziah. And he sent unto him a prophet who said unto him, why have you sought after the gods of the people, which could not deliver their own people out of your hand?
Go to Psalms 96 and 1. He said, why you worshiping the gods of people who couldn't even save them? Psalms 96 and 1.
Oh, sing unto Yahuwah a new song. Sing unto Yahuwah all the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Sing unto Yahuwah Baruch his name. Show forth his salvation from day to day.
Declare
His esteem among the heathen.
his wonders
Among all people.
Yahuwah
is great.
Greatly
To be praised.
feared.
Above all gods.
For all the gods
The nations
are
idols.
all the gods of the nations.
Idols
And Yahuwah.
made Shamahim.
Pause. Now, I'm going to read you something, right? And then I'm going to mention some of the people I just mentioned, right? Unlike the chief god of the Ammonites, Milcom was the name of the national god or a popular god of the Ammonites. He is attested in the Hebrew Bible and archaeological finds from the former territory of Ammon. His connections to other deities with similar names attested in the Bible and archaeologically are debated, as well as his relationship to the Canaanite supreme deity El, or the putative deity Molech. Well, who is El? El, this is a Phoenician, Hebrew, Syriac, and Arabic word cognative to Akkadian, Northwest Semitic word meaning God or deity, or referring as a proper name to any of the multiple major ancient Near Eastern deities. A rarer form represents the predicate form in the Old Akkadian and Amorite languages. The word is derived from Proto-Semitic. I'm going to show you a statue of El from Tel Megiddo. There you go. That is the statue of El. Now, when you see that word El, because you know you have Elohim or Elohim or Alua or things of that nature, that some people, Shalom 10K, some people will take that and say, okay, that's Yahuwah. You have to remember this here, like that is a deity of that land, but then also El, Elohim, it goes across multiple languages, and it's a title. You know what I'm talking about? At least as it's described scripturally, because that's when you start dealing with El Elyon, you know, El Shaddai. You have people in certain schools of thought that believe that's a different God. You understand what I'm saying? You familiar with that? You familiar with that? I know you're not. You're just a boy. Well, we're going to have to look into that further. Let's continue. Now, his symbol is a bull. You know what I'm saying? His wife is Asherah. This is where it come in to say that Asherah was Yahuwah's wife, because they say El is Yahuwah and his consort was Asherah. This is where these concepts come from. You know what I'm talking about? And I think there's a book that's titled that deals with that. You know what I'm talking about? So remember, right? You have to remember you're dealing with people who are collecting ancient Near East. Number one, with most scholars, let's just play this on the table, straight up and down. Most of them do not believe that the Bible is an actual text to be taken literally and followed, and that there's a literal God in heaven. So you have to understand that. So the reason why most Israelites don't want to read these type of books, because they get offended up reading stuff about people who don't believe in Yahuwah. That's none of my business. If somebody writing a book about Sumerian culture or certain things causes you to not believe in Yahuwah, then you already had problems before you started. I mean, I really don't know how to put that. You know what I'm talking about? So that's where they come from. Because you know Asherah's mentioned in the text. Y'all know that, right? Well, hold on. Let's find this hope. And then, of course, you know, you got your boy. You know who your boy is, don't it? They weep for him. You be around here weeping for Tammuz?
Putting that lint on your head.
Putting that lint on your head, boy. Come on here to Jeremiah chapter 7 and 14. After that, Jeremiah 44. I know I got to find the verse where her name is mentioned specifically. Give me a moment.
Therefore will I do unto this house, which is called by my name, wherein you trust, and unto the place which I give to you and to your fathers, as I have done to Shiloh. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, the whole seed of Ephraim. Therefore pray not you for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me for I will not hear you. See you not what they do in the cities of Yehuda and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead dough to make cakes to the queen of Shammahim.
She kneading dough to make cakes to the kingdom of the queen of Shammahim.
To pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, saith Yahuwah? Not themselves to the confusion of their own faces.
That's good. Go to Jeremiah 44 and 15. I'm going to read you this part. This is Asherah, Hebrew, Ugaritic, Akkadian, Katababanian, was a goddess in ancient Semitic religion. She also appears in Hittite writings as Assertu or as Atherite and Ugarit. Some scholars hold that Yahweh and Asherah were concert pair in ancient Israel and in Judah, while others disagree. Her symbol is a tree, which y'all know that. That's why they had you coming out there to the doggone, what you call it at school, to the flag pole, because that's the Asherah pole. That's why your old lady was swinging on the pole in the strip club, because that was for Asherah. Yeah, man. You used to be dreaming about swinging on the pole?
Judges 10:6.
No, I appreciate it. See, those names are in the Sefer? Well, yeah, I ain't looked at a Sefer in so long. How many of y'all was around here dreaming about swinging on the pole? Thank God you ain't disrespect your family. You swinging on no pole. You will be swinging for Asherah. Which in reality, if my memory served me correctly, that's more what Jeremiah 10 was about, was the Asherah tree, more than a Christmas tree. See, they try to make it be a Christmas tree to fit their narrative about trying to have a Bible verse to condemn Christmas. You know what I'm talking about? That is where that comes from, Emma. The stripper pole is definitely based on the Asherah pole and along with the flag pole, because you did freaky things in the grove at the Asherah pole that people don't like to talk about. That's one of the instances of where you would look at it and say, okay, if Asherah is Yahuwah's consort, and Yahuwah is saying that he's against these things, but Asherah isn't, either Yahuwah is a sucker and a simp, or that's not his consort. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being 100% honest with you. You said, I think someone told me that birthday cakes are symbolic of the cakes made to the Queen of Heaven. I'm not sure about that. Now, we do know that the candles on the birthday cake. No, I mean, because people see that because they see the cake queen, but it wasn't a cake like how we eat a cake, because it would more than likely be an unleavened cake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Incense.
You know what I'm saying? Unleavened bread, or you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be like cakes we eat now. Though that's not to say that the cake that we have now, that might not have been the framework of it, but then we would have to see through Asherah's stories if the celebratory nature of birthdays was something that was attached to her. You know what I'm saying? Because then if it was something attached to her, then it would be more relevant. Now, we do know the putting off candles and blowing out of candles on a birthday cake is more aligned with the scaring away of evil spirits. This is what these people believe. It doesn't matter if you believe that that was their practice and you just kept doing it. Because again, the majority of things that you do in this society, they come from another culture of people. So then you got to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Where does it come from? And is it relevant to the way of life that I want to live? Read Jeremiah 6 and 16 real quick before you read Jeremiah 44 and 15. Yeah, see, this is the fun part of the game, because this is the stuff these niggas don't like to talk about. But you need to know these things, because you need to know the basis and foundation of everything that you participate in. You know what I'm saying? Not just doing it because this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? So what if this is what you do? If it's not in line with the culture that you say that you want to represent, why you want to keep doing it? Just because you always been doing it, or are you just self-centered? That's a question you have to ask yourself. I can't answer that question for you. Jeremiah 6 and 16.
Thus saith Yahuwah, stand you in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls.
He said, we will not walk therein. He said, seek you the what paths?
The old paths.
And then do what?
Walk therein.
He said, but we will not walk therein. They didn't want no rest for their soul. Now, let me finish reading what I'm reading. Now, her major cult center was in the Middle East, mainly in you got to remember, right? Jerusalem was formerly called Salem. Who was the king of Salem that you can read about in this book?
King and priest.
No. That's somebody else. You got two people you can go to. Come on, give me Genesis 14 with haste. Give me Genesis 14 and 5. No, that's not the one I'm looking at. You got him, and you got one in Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 10 to be specific. You forgetting about the kings that Abraham went to war with. Huh? You remember them? He don't remember them. Genesis 14 is there.
That was the 4 verses 5. That was what the 4 kings versus the 5.
Yeah. There you go. Brother Marvin got it. Come on, read me verse 5.
Say in the 14th year came Kedalamer and the kings that were with him and smote the Rephaims and Ashtaroth, Pernaim and the Zuzims and Ham.
He smote who?
The Zuzims and Ham.
Who else he hit?
Ashtaroth.
Who is that? Tell him who Ashtaroth is. That sounds familiar to it, don't you? Well, Ed, come on, go ahead.
It's Asheroth, Karnaim, that is Asheroth of the 2 horns or peaks.
Go ahead.
City in Bashan, east of Jordan, given to Manasseh.
Go ahead.
And the Zuzims of Ham and the Emims and Shavah, Kiriathaim and the Horites and Mount Seir and El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they turned and came to in Mishpat, which is in Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazazon Tamar, and there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar. They joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim, with Kedalmar, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. In the vale of Siddim of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain.
Now come over here to Yahushua son of Nun and pick it up in chapter 10 and verse 1. Well, that nigga named Hancock. That's a hell of a name, man. Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 10, verse 1. You remember this here? They hung the kings on the what?
True.
And then they put them in a where?
Okay.
And then they rolled a what? Sound familiar, don't it? They don't sound familiar. Quran, what's good, my G? Shalom, man. Man, I already know you out there in the woods, man. That's all good, blood. Shoot, y'all hold it down out there, man. Praise Yahuwah.
Now it came to pass.
Hold on. He said, I was studying why people bake cakes at Christmas and thought it was cakes to the Queen Mother. That very well may be the case, and that's why we got our stuff pulled up. And I know if it's some more stuff on it, Emma got it, and she'll send it, and we'll look at it. You know what I'm saying? This is not, see, I put it to you this way, right? The celebration in and of itself of a birth is not evil. But more than likely, the things that are connected to it in this particular society, you would need to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why are you throwing a party? Why are you baking a cake? Why are you giving gifts? That does not mean that those things are necessarily evil. It means that you should have enough desire and diligence to say, why am I doing this custom? Because I know if it's not a custom that comes from the people that I say I descend from, then where does it come from and why am I doing it? You know what I'm saying? See, if you don't even have a care to do it because you've always been doing it and that's just what we do, but you say that you come from a particular group of people who have a particular set of customs, then you may not actually want to be from this particular group of people and their customs because you want to do what you always been doing that is beneficial to your personal desires. Because if you found out it was cakes baked to the Queen of Heaven, would you still want to bake them? I'm talking about for that cause. Not baking a cake. Because baking a cake in and of itself is nothing. Hell, truth be told, baking a cake on your birthday in and of itself is nothing. You know what I'm talking about? But if you're baking the cake intending that I'm offering this to the Queen Mother, that's something different. Now, how the adversary operates is he don't care if you knew what you was doing when you were doing it. He just wants you to participate. He doesn't care if you know the details. But there has to come a point in time to where you grow spiritually and mentally and emotionally, and you just want to know, why do we do these things? Have any of you ever thought why you did the things that you grew up doing? Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong if it didn't come to mind, because in a lot of instances, why would it? You know what I'm saying? If you 12, 13 years old, why would you think about, why do you niggas always baking cakes and giving me gifts? You don't care because you're so accustomed to getting it. So it doesn't even enter into your mind, why are we doing it? Because truth be told, most of you wouldn't give a damn about nothing about a birthday if nobody put it in your mind to. That's not something you came out the womb and said, my birthday is important to me. Somebody hammered that into your mind that it was important. You didn't come out the womb with that. Somebody told you your birthday is special. This is special. You got drilled it in your head. You believed it. You co-opted it. And now you go out in the world and looking like everyone should acknowledge this because this is important to me. Is it important to you, or is it important to you because somebody told you it should be important to you? That's what you have to ask yourself. Doesn't mean it's wrong if it's important to you. Understand what I'm saying to you. You know what I'm talking about? You have to have the self-introspection. Is this important to me because it's important to me, or because I was socialized to believe that it was important? Now, if you look at yourself and say, yes, this is important to me, and you can give tangible reasons that you can clearly and succinctly articulate, then it's important to you. If your response is important to you because it's important to me, that very well could be rooted from a level of self-centeredness, pride, and arrogance. You know what I'm talking about? Anything that's important to you, you should be able to plainly and clearly explain why it is. Straight up and down. If you can't do that with at least 2 to 3 strong points of why this is important to you, then it's not important to you. That's just your flesh. It makes me feel good. I desire it. I want it. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at all that. These are certain things because it's going to trickle over in other areas in your life. How you view things. Again, having a birthday cake, I mean, it's just like this here, man. If you went to your people's house, because a lot of people trip off that verse where Paul said, if you be disposed to go to a feast, don't ask no questions. See, these people thinking that's talking about, oh, not asking to eat pork. He said, hey, you ain't supposed to walk in there, y'all sacrificing this to a God? Because that's what most Israelites gonna do. Is this for your pagan God? And somebody looking around, who invited this nigga? Who invited this nigga? Send him home. You know what I'm saying? Who does that? You did that because you were looking for a fight. But he said, if they said it before you eat it, you know what I'm saying? But if you already knew it was for another God, why would you go? And say indoctrinated and inundated with American culture out the womb. Absolutely. And don't blame your people, because guess what? They was indoctrinated and look where you live. You're dealing with a people who don't have a culture. Do you remember some of the 5 elements that make up a culture? Law, government. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that. So when you don't have those 2 things, you don't have customs. And when you don't have customs, then you're not going to have a culture to pass down to your offspring. So you're going to pass down somebody else's culture. You know what I'm saying? You're going to pass down somebody else's customs. So you have to know that. What I asked you to read, bro? You say, not me, I did. What I asked you to read, bro? Or was I still reading out of here?
Joshua 10.
Yeah, Joshua 10:1. And then Judges 10:6.
Say now it came to pass when Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken.
Who was the king? Adonai-Zedek. Tell him what that is. That means my Lord is righteous. You see that Zedek still around now. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether he was king and priest at the same time, that's another conversation. We'd have to do a historical dive on him. It's not much mentioned on him.
No, I'm saying Melchizedek was king of Salem.
Yeah, it was. But so is him.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about you see his name, Zedek.
I was reading while you were talking, I was looking at the origin of birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, back in ancient Egypt, it was the birth of the god they celebrated.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just random people, it was just only the God.
Only the God. And that's why people believe that the Lord's story represented Horus. Because they came and brought him gifts. Because that's what they did for the Egyptian deities. Just like a brother said earlier, all them plagues, and you should know that, all them plagues in Egypt was a plague to destroy a specific Egyptian god. Don't come to Milwaukee. If I come to Milwaukee, I might commit sin, man. I might have to have sex with your mama. Ain't that what Buddy said? No, that's what Uncle Phil said. He say, "Your mama." And then he punched him in the eye. Don't worry, Brother Marvin got you. See, as I said it.
Real bouncer.
Yeah, he called himself Milwaukee Killer this time. I think he used that one before. Come on, Sid.
See, now it came to pass when Adonai Zadok, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done unto Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king. And now the inhabitants of Gibeon had made shalom with Yahshua.
That's good. I just wanted you to see that. Judges 10-6. Oh, he came back. I'm the godfather of my neighborhood. I know you ain't the real father of one because you don't look like nobody want to give you no yams. Because as many email accounts you got, I know you got multiple OnlyFans and Pornhub accounts. I don't even know how you're able to type. I definitely believe you're legally blind. Come on. Judges 10-6.
And the children of Yahshua did evil again in the sight of Yahuwah and served Balaam and Ashtaroth and the gods of Syria and the gods of Zidon.
Go ahead and tell them who Ashtaroth is. The gods of Syria, the gods of Zidon, and we can talk about them too. It never hurts to go back over these things. I'm going to read my books today too. Make sure.
Ashtaroth, that's means stars, a false goddess in the Canaanite religion, usually related to fertility cult.
Pause. Now, I got it pulled up. I got the stuff for birthdays pulled up. The origin of birthday celebrations can be traced back to ancient Egypt, where the first recorded birthday parties were held to mark the coronation of a pharaoh. The Egyptians believed that pharaohs were divine, and the coronation was a moment of rebirth, or as the birth as a god. The first recorded mention of a birthday in the Bible is from around 3000 BCE and refers to Pharaoh's birthday. The Greeks adopted the Egyptian tradition and celebrated the birth of their gods. They offered moon-shaped cakes with lit candles to the lunar goddess Artemis to recreate the moon's radius and Artemis's beauty. So there you go with your birthday cakes and your candles. That's where it comes from. In the early Christian church, birthdays were considered pagan rituals and were not allowed. However, around the 4th century, the celebration of the birth of Jesus began. Today, and you notice he said around the 4th century, Emma, that goes right back to that part I read you in 48 Laws of Power when it said preach change, but don't reform too quickly. And it had that in the side. And that happened in 325 when Roman Emperor Constantine wanted to make sure that he had maintained control over his kingdom. That's when they started saying that December 25th was this man's birthday, when really it was a worship for Saturnalia. And y'all know what they did for Saturnalia. They had sex they went home, they had homosexual sex with their friends, then went home and beat up their wives after they exchanged gifts with their homosexual friends. Oh, because the Romans did not consider women to be intellectually equal. So therefore, because they were intellectually inferior, it was permitted for them to physically assault them. And since their male friends were their intellectual equals, it was considered to be allowable to have physical relations with your friends. I am not making this up, nor am I trying to be humorous. This is all historical fact. You know what I'm saying? This is literally the thought process of the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks. They believed that women were beneath them, so that permitted them to have sex with men. I wish I was making that up, but I'm not.
This one time with Ashtaroth too.
Ocean? Oh, that's a whole different god, but it could be the same. Ocean is the deity that Beyonce like to represent.
Yeah, I know
that's a Yoruba god.
I know it's a fertility too.
Yeah. That's it. Could be the same as Ashtaroth. You know what I'm saying? Definitely the water goddess, but that's the deity that's an African deity. That's the deity that Beyonce likes to look like.
Yeah, it's a Canaanite equivalent.
There it is. Remember, these gods change from culture to culture, but it'd be the same god. It'd be the same god. It'd be the same goddess. It's just a different culture giving them a different name, representing a different element of God's creation. You know what I'm talking about? Since I said that, give me Romans 1:17. Somebody playing on YouTube. Is it glory? It's glory, hallelujah. That's what that girl name is.
Call it Gigolo.
That's amazing that her mama named her that, and she seemed like a very nice young lady though. You don't even know that lady. I don't listen to none of her music, but all jokes aside, she seemed like a very nice young lady. She looked like one too. That's why she bought them titties. He definitely looked like a 12-year-old boy before she bought them breasts. I mean, she young. She ain't came into a full woman body, and she ain't had a baby yet either. I would want to say what y'all probably coming to y'all full women body about your mid to late 20s. It gets accelerated if you have a child young, but yeah, you don't get your full. It's the same way, unless a man been working out early in life, he ain't gonna come into the full peak of his physique, and really till about his 30s if he been training. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's just. You can definitely see the difference when you look at your peers' photos when y'all were in school. You be like, oh, we look so small. You hadn't came into the maturity of your body yet. Technically, you were still a child. Some women were overdeveloped. You know what I'm saying? Some men were overdeveloped. You see them big old niggas on the football team. This nigga 6'4". How this nigga 6'4", 250 at 12? Come on, man.
For therein is the righteousness of Elohim revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from Shamayim against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them, for Elohim hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made.
Go ahead.
His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse.
Without excuse.
Because then when they knew Elohim, they esteemed not as Elohim, neither were thankful, and became vain in their imagination. And their foolish heart was darkened. Baby. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Changed the esteem of the uncorruptible Elohim into an image made like the corruptible man, into birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore Elohim also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
That's good. That is good. Like I told y'all the other day, man, when you look at a lot of things, you always gonna end up in three places: Egypt, Samaria, and Babylon. That's where you're gonna end up at. 99.9% of the time, you're gonna end up in Egypt, Samaria, or Babylon. It's because you have to understand something, that those were the three leading civilizations of antiquity. You know what I'm talking about? Those were the three leading civilizations of antiquity. That's why things are always going to go back to them. Because in the aspect of idolatrous and pagan type worship, they were the progenitors and pushers of it. See, they like to tell to you about the Tower of Babel as if them people was evil, but all them people on the Tower of Babel, they all worship Yahuwah. They weren't worshiping. They were going to. You got to remember, when the Tower of Babel is made, what is just concluded? The flood had just concluded. So of course, all the people going to be one. Why wouldn't they be? But let's continue. Now, her symbol is the tree. Her consort is El in the Urigradic religion, Yahuwah in the Israelite religion, Amaru in the Amorite religion, Anu in the Akkadian religion, Am in the Kotababian religion, Assur in the Assyrian religion, and Elkanarissa in the Hittite religion. She has 70 sons in the Urigradic religion and 77 to 88 in the Hittite religion. I don't care about her name. Now, her name sometimes is Elat, the feminine equivalent of El. Her titles often include Holy Balat or Lady, Creator of the Gods. See, listen, you want to know where you see Ashtaroth get mentioned in this book, where it talk about Ashtaroth? You want to know where you think it's at, Sylvia? Everybody talk about it. I'm going to help you out. Isaiah chapter 47 and 1.
We say, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Oh, virgin daughter of who?
Babylon.
Babylon.
Sit on the ground, and there is no throne. O daughter of Chaldeans, for you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal.
Grind meal,
uncover
baby.
your locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers.
Come on and show these sins.
Your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, your shame shall be seen.
Everybody gonna see your sins.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet as a man.
He said, I'm not gonna meet you as a who?
As a man.
That means he's gonna meet you as God. See, Daniel let you know that before you even get the revelation. So I'm not gonna meet you as a man, I'm gonna meet you as God. Now, why would he need to meet his wife? If she's his wife, she already there. You have to understand something with the ancient, also in ancient mystery school systems and religious systems. They were real big on the fertility aspect of worship. That's why sexual deviancy is always attached to these gods. You got to understand, so the Egyptians worship the phallic and the vulva. That's why if you're a Muslim and you go over there to walk around the cobblestone, you have to kiss the cobblestone, and it's contained inside something that literally looks like a vagina. You know what I'm saying? Why does it look like a vagina? Because Islam is a moon religion. So you're dealing with the mother goddess. You know what I'm talking about? So you're participating in goddess worship. Now, whether you agree or not, go look it up. You know what I'm saying? Cut YouTube off, man. Go read a book. You're going to see it. These people freaky. They make you think that Islamic people are some of the most decent and sexually restrained people. Them people are perverts. About what? No. You just go to looking, daughters of Allah, and then, or you might find a book on the daughters of Allah, and then you see the sources that they used in that book. See, anybody who writes a scholastic book, they have to cite the sources, meaning because most of them are not coming up with this on their own. They're either taking this from an archaeological find, someone else's historical writing, or the actual writings of that particular society and culture that someone else has written about. So if you read a book and they don't have a bibliography or a list of sources, throw it in the trash can. Because this person is not a researcher, a scholar of any type. That's just somebody who's writing. That's why, well, you don't be in that room. But that's why saying on here in Grand Risings, a lot of people get upset because they be like, okay, what's your source for that? Because if you say something, you have to cite a source. Now, just because you cite a source does not mean that source is 100% accurate, but at least I have to be able to verify where you got your information from. You just can't tell me something and then you don't have a book for me to find and say, okay, this is where you got this from. So when we get into Biggest Secret, you're going to see where he lists his sources of where he wrote that chapter from. Or like when we were reading last night and that Fallen Angels book, and he mentioned, this came from the Targums of the Talmud from this rabbi. Because that way now you can go find that and you can read that for yourself. And usually what happens, and that's why I say when you're dealing from a scholastic approach, how long it takes. He said that's why there are obelisks all around. Absolutely. You know what an obelisk is, right? That's the Washington Monument. That's something that comes from Egypt. It's an obelisk, right? It's in the shape of a phallus. That's why it's in front of the reflecting pool, because that's representative of the woman's womb. Because these people worship sexual organs. That's what the yin and the yang is about. That's why it's hard for people to say, okay, why he doesn't have a wife, because they're looking at it from what we just read in Romans. You're trying to make him be like a man. You know what I'm saying? Emma put it very, very, very nicely earlier today. When you look at what I am that I am means, I'm self-existing, I'm self-sustaining, meaning mind your business, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I do what I do. I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? I have no beginning or no ending. And it's hard for us to encapsulate, because like, let's say, matter of fact, like Manny was talking about this morning, I understand where he's coming from. When he say God don't exist, when somebody would hear that, they would get offended until you understand what does exist mean by definition. If Yahuwah is self-existing and self-sustaining, if you exist, that means you had to what? You had to emanate from something else. So if Yahuwah is self-existent, he just is. He don't emanate from nobody else. Therefore, it's not that he doesn't exist, he just is. You know what I'm saying? He don't come from nobody, he just is. And that's hard for us to wrap our mind around. What do you mean he just is? Well, talk to him about it. You asking someone with a mortal mind like you to explain something that's past the realms of my expertise. This is why David say, I don't exercise myself in things too high for me. Because some people don't have the humility to say, hey man, bro, I'm a man like you, bro. What you want me to do? You say like Job, that's right. And we can read that also. He said, I was talking to my barber, and he told me a few months ago that those Arabs in the Middle East had a holy day and died in a heat stroke because they had to go out in the desert to worship. Yeah, it happens a lot. They got to go out there. They got to go out there and kiss that coochie. I'm dead serious. I ain't mean to say it like that. But in the reality, they have to. But yeah, man, Arab people are perverts. When you look at all that sex trafficking, who's the main perpetrator of it? It's them. The women they kidnapping over here, they selling it to them. That's who they selling them to. Them Arab niggas. Them Arab niggas the one bringing them women over there talking about let my camel doodle on you. Then he want to have sex with her after. You're disgusting, sir. You're a vile beast. That's a different level of disgust. It's one thing like how Biggie say she wanted me to doodle on her chest. It's another thing to have an animal do it and then you lay with her. What's like, what type of perverted mind do you have? That's not normal behavior, man. But they try to act like they so pious. Sharia law, you's a pervert. You's a pervert. And you don't want to study Arab culture, them people are murderous perverts. Read it for yourself. They don't have this stuff ain't hard to find. These people are murderous perverts. If you got a prophet who tell you if a woman ain't around, it's okay for you to have sex with a sheep because it's almost the same thing, what you think they got going? Then they get mad at you when you mention stuff like that. I didn't write it. The same way them Jewish boys get mad when you talk about them putting their mouth on a baby's penis for circumcision. They come up with all type of excuses. Man, ain't no excuse in the world to justify the fact you just cupped your mouth on this little baby's penis to try to suck the blood out. Why did you volunteer for that job? I wouldn't volunteer for that. Matter of fact, somebody would have to shoot me a fade if they told me, all right, now, Caleb, it's your turn to do that. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Oh, you have it's our tradition. You finna traditionally catch these hands, cuz I'm not doing that. There's no way anyone can convince me that that's something to do. I don't want to do that. Straight up, that's nasty. I don't want nobody's male member nowhere close to my mouth, irregardless of their age. Yes, that's what they do. That is what they do. I'm not making it up. Look it up. No, don't be scared now. Job 36 and 23. Oh, I thought y'all knew about that. I guess not. It's a weird world we live in, man. That's not an Israelite custom either. That's a straight rabbinical custom. Man, I just told y'all the other day, they tell you that if you weren't circumcised on the 8th day, that you got to get, and you convert to being Jewish, you got to get circumcised again. So that means a grown man, no, I'm not circumcised the 8th day. If you convert to being Orthodox Jewish, just Jewish period, and you were not circumcised by a rabbinical Jew, this is coming from a rabbinical Jew who say he is a rabbi. Some people say he's not. I don't know. I'm not over that. You know what I'm talking about? From his own mouth. He said that you have to get circumcised again as a grown man, even if you've already been circumcised. So we like, how do you get circumcised again? He said they have to prick your member till blood comes out. And that counts as a circumcision. A grown man. You got to go as a grown man, go present yourself, butt, booty, ball naked, and allow another grown man to handle your member and prick it. I'd rather not be Jewish. If I got to do, you can't convince me that God want me to go and take my member and put it in the hands of another man. You can't convince me of that. You cannot convince me there's a God in heaven and say, yeah, that's what I like. Yeah, that justifies me real good. No, absolutely not. Y'all think that sound godly to you? That don't sound godly to me. Sounds like a pervert. Who volunteered for that job? Now you got to handle grown members. You come home from work, you'll be like, baby, how was your day? Yeah, I handled about 4 of them today. Yeah, it was a great day. A couple of them, all shapes and sizes. You coming home talking about male members with your wife. Come on, cuz. Nobody even questions these things. And I'm going to tell you, the Jewish people get mad when you press them about this type of stuff. Like, y'all the one doing it, what you mad at me for? Because I'm asking you why you doing it. You don't understand. It's our tradition. I'm trying to understand, nigga. That's why I'm asking you. Why are you doing that? I don't even want that image in my brain. I don't even want to see my son's penis. This is a stranger. That's amazing. Come on, man. Job 36 and 23. I say that with a tint of humor, but seriousness at the same time. That's amazing.
It's like, who have enjoined him his way, or who can say you have wrought iniquity? Remember that you magnify his work, which men behold. Every man may see it, man may behold afar off. Behold, Elohim is great, and we know not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out.
Number of his years can't be what?
Searched out.
Can't be what?
Searched out.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Let me finish with this, with old Ashley over here. Due to certain ambiguities in surviving attestations of Asherah, whether she's considered to be a deity or a symbol is not universally agreed upon. While some consider Asherah to be a defined deity, others call her a mere cultic object. Devar says Asherah was both. Winter says the goddess and her symbol should not be distinguished altogether. Besides the obvious connections between goddesses who sometimes cannot be distinguished, some scholars have found an early link in between Asherah and Eve, based upon the coincidence of their common title as the mother of all living in Genesis 3 and 20. That's something that Chronicles of Judah used to talk about a lot, that a lot of these goddesses are really archetypes of Adam and Eve, and that Adam and Eve ended up being deified by their subsequent descendants. You know what I'm saying? And that they began to worship them. Now, that is not, as we read with Anubis, that he ended up becoming a god because jackals were digging up the shallow graves that they were making and eating people. And this is how Anubis came about. So the thought process of seeing human beings deifying and worshiping other human beings who passed away is not something that is outside the realms of possibility of reality. What are the verses that I had? We read Judges 10 and 6. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jeremiah 44 and 15. And then I'll feed and read about Asherah. And I'm going to read something from The Biggest Secret. I remember I got this book in the county jail in 2004. Man, my big homie brought me this book, man. That's the first time that I had ever heard of this gentleman. I didn't know it. I don't recall seeing when that book was published, but when I got hold to it, it had been published for maybe 5 years. Then it was published in 1999. So this was 2004 when I got it. And then I happened to read subsequent other books that he had. But how many of y'all are familiar with the reptilians? Look at D. I watched the videos. Look at Johnny, he's shaking his head. I did too. And then one of them started playing weird music, and I realized I was on the wrong station. Not for real. But nah, he goes to talking about he's going to go to talking about the reptilians. And he links those reptilians to the Anunnaki or the ancient Sumerian deities. More specifically, Marduk. But he's not going to call Marduk by name.
They still think the reptilians are on the earth right now.
Yeah, some people believe that the people in authority are reptilians.
Yeah.
I've seen some people get upset talking about, that Joe Rogan was hating on Shannon Sharp because he had Donald Trump on his podcast, and that broke the record that Cat Williams them had in 10 hours. And I'm like, you stupid idiot. You put an ex-president in the midst of a highly contested presidential election on your podcast. I think it's going to beat out a podcast with a comedian. I think it's going to go past that, especially someone as controversial as Donald John Trump Jr. Yeah, he's a junior.
I thought that it was free.
Oh, I don't know. I just threw that on there. He might not be. She know his background. His daddy name is Frederick. Frederick Trump. He was a white man from East White Flatbush, New York. That's where he from. Where they from? No, they from New York. I think they from Queens. I can't remember. I looked into his. I saw Emma video where they were talking about it, and y'all thought I was playing. That Bush and Obama was related, but what I didn't know was the dude who shot Reagan, Bush and Obama related to him. Now, what'd that tell you? A man who shot a president is related to two men who became president later. You know what I'm saying? No, because it's not even a plan. What you think you're electing somebody, all you're doing is being deceived into this is just another form of continuing a royal bloodline. And they passing royal leadership on down. Every now and then you have a couple people who not a part of the family. Your John F. Kennedys. But outside of that, it's pretty rare. Because I think it might be less than 10. Maybe closer to maybe 5. I'm going off memory, so don't quote me on this. Of all the United States presidents who are not related. Because all of them are related. Now, they might not be, close relatives, but they're related. And like I told you, if you want to know who's going to be president, look for the person with the highest concentration of royal blood, and there's a strong likelihood that they're going to be the one to win. That's why I was shocked that Hillary Clinton didn't win. That's why I say Donald Trump might be the exception, because I didn't see their genealogy, but I definitely would say I would have bet money she had a higher concentration of royal blood. So considering that Candace Owens has been finding information that this woman is Jewish, you know what I'm talking about? And among other things, she might have a higher concentration of royal blood, and you might see the first quote-unquote black female president, and y'all finna get ready to get 12 inches of ungreased phallus right up your behind. No, they separate. They're separate family. Because that's why they always mention her name, Rodham. That's why they ain't never got divorced, because it's all for optics. That's another example of two people who don't fool with each other, but they're not going to get divorced. You know what I'm saying? It says that what that show V is about in the 80s. I'm not sure. I can't speak on that one. I'm not sure on that. Yeah. She I know her family goes back to the British somewhere. Bill Clinton, I don't know who his bloodline, because I ain't never looked into his junk. You know what I'm talking about? Because he came from out of nowhere as being the governor of Arkansas, and then he was president. And he was Bush at that, who had been vice president for 8 years and president for 4, and the head of the CIA. You know what I'm saying? To lose to a nigga who, he was charismatic. And that's all you got to have to dupe the American people. He went on Arsenio and played a saxophone, and niggas said he's our first black president. So that tell you how stupid black people is. All he had to do was play a saxophone. Obama around here, all he had to do was come out there. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. He played basketball, y'all. Meanwhile, he's smoking Peters in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, allegedly, he married to a man. That's wild that somebody say you married to a man. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's got to hurt if she really a woman. That's got to be tough. You just hear people say you a man every day. You be like, damn, am I that ugly? Is my face that strong? Because I don't know if that's a man or not. I've never been under her clothes. You know what I'm talking about? But that's a hell of a thing for a group of people to say that's a man. So I've been hearing about Islam, and I wonder if my grandfather knew this before he died. My grandfather would not allow my aunt to be raised Islamic. Hey, I mean, shoot. Ain't nothing you can do once they get grown. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you mean, though. Oh, no, I remember where it came from. That episode when she was on Ellen, and they was like, boy, Michelle got a schlong. When she was dancing, it looked like she was packing something. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not going to call that lady no man. You know what I'm saying? You know how Chronicles used to call Gabrielle Union Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? Say that wasn't no woman. I don't know. I don't know them people. Now, I will say this here, though. When Joan Rivers said it and how she said it, there was some credibility to that. And it wasn't because what she said. It's how she said it. It was how matter of fact, like, how you don't know that? That's what threw me. You can't even find that video on YouTube no more. They snatched it. You know what I'm saying? When she was like, come on, man. Everybody knows that's a transsexual. Everybody knows that. Like I said, it wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. It was the shock. Like, you don't know that's a dude? And I was like, well, damn. That's amazing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, she did die after that, but also she was old, getting plastic surgery or whatever she was getting. So I'm not going to necessarily say they killed her for that because that nigga was old. You know what I'm saying? Now, is it ironic? Hey, I'll let you be the judge of that. You know what I'm talking about? But what I can say was, one thing I know about old people, especially if they feel like they close to death, they don't mince no words. They don't feel no tell stories and laugh or what? Nigga, I'm finna get ready to die. That's a nigga. You know what I'm saying? You get around people who old and they feel like they close to death, but they just old. They don't care what they say. They ain't got no regard for feelings or nothing. If the truth is the truth. If you're a man, you're a man. Baby, you're a whore, you're a whore. You know, some of y'all done got grandma be like, look at that little whore over there. Grandma, you can't be saying that. You know she is. Oh, you done heard your grandma do that before? That's why I said that. Sound like it, maybe not with that particular situation, but like grandma, like, look at you, fat. You know what I'm saying? Just say stuff just out there. Like, damn, grandma, you didn't even say hello. You say, look at you, you're getting fat there, ain't you, baby? The last time you went outside and walked. No hello and how you doing, huh? Mama Steph say, I say winch. Damn, that nigga ugly. That's a man. Hold on, but look at this nigga face, man. Look at this face. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this down. Well, that's a strong face right there, boy. That's a strong face right there, man. That's a strong face, boy. I'm talking about, boy, I went to school with niggas who look like that. Now, I ain't saying that's no man, but Emma Wild, she said she called him a winch. You know you from a different generation when you get called a bed winch. You know what that is? That's what what's that Kerry Washington character on that show she was on? She was a bed winch. Yeah, she was a bed winch. That's what a bed winch is. She sleep with married men, you just like this, just a bed. But if a woman, if an older woman call you a bed winch, you need to change your life. You need to change your life because you live in fire. Come on, Sid. Where you at with it?
Jeremiah 44.
Come on, 44 and 15.
Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods.
Oh, burned incense unto who?
Other gods.
Why you did that?
And all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt and capitals, answered Jeremiah, saying,
What they said?
The word that you have spoken unto us in the name of Yahuwah, we will not hearken unto you. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing go forth out of our own mouths. To burn incense unto the queen of Shamayim.
And the poor,
I'll drink offerings unto
as
her.
we have done.
We and our fathers, our kings,
our princes,
in the cities of
and in the streets.
Jerusalem.
For we have had
plenty of victuals
and were well.
and saw no evil.
They said, long as we were serving Asherah, baby, everything was good. Come on.
But since we left off the burning incense to the queen of Shamaim and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have won it all.
And have been consumed
by the sword and by the famine.
See, they didn't realize that was Yahuwah doing that to them. Go ahead.
And when we burned incense to the queen of Shamaim and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes?
Shalom, Sister Gwen.
To worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men?
Tell them what cakes is, man. That's tough.
Kavan, a cake, a sacrificial cake.
A sacrificial cake. So this is my point. Making birthday cakes in and of itself, unless you were making a sacrificial cake, is a little different. But you see that concept came for Artemis. Let me share with you who Artemis is. Some of y'all, I think Artemis might be Diana. Artemis, the Greek goddess. Oh, I don't want to read about Nasa's program. I'm sorry. Artemis was a Greek goddess associated with the hunt, the wilderness, wild animals, nature, vegetation, and childbirth, care of children, and chastity. She was the daughter of Zeus, Leto, the twin sister of Apollo. Her symbols is the bow and arrow, a quiver, hunting knives, the deer, and the cypress. She was the patron of the Greek heroine Atalanta, a fast runner. Artemis was one of the three major virgin goddesses alongside Athena and Hestia. Her Roman equivalent was Diana. Diana is the one that you can read about in Acts. Dirty Diana. Artemis Temple at Ephesians was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Dirty Diana. They say that's who we wrote that song for. Acts 19 and 24, man. You can read about Diana here. Here's Artemis. Look at what she looked like. I got a glare right there, so. That's who the concept of birthdays come from. Or birthday cakes and candles. Or what that boy say, birthday bakes and bandles. You don't know about that one, do you? No, you don't want you a big filet bandwich? Some chocolate baked bookies. That nigga stupid. That joint just funny because it's probably a super blood in California who talk like that for real. You know what I'm talking about? That boy ain't saying no C or S words. Now that was from a big Josh kid. That nigga say, you talking about birthday cakes and candles? Nah, blood. More like birthday bakes and bandles. I said, hell no. Acts 19 to 24.
For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, sirs, you know that by this craft we have our wealth. Moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesians, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands. You
see how their issue was? You see they had an issue with? Listen to the thing that he said, man. You know that by this craft we have our what?
Our wealth.
Our what?
Our wealth.
That's the only thing they cared about. That's the only thing they cared about. Go ahead.
So that not only this, our craft is in danger.
If their craft in danger, what's really in danger? They wealth. Go ahead.
To be set at nothing, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worship.
Whom all Asia and the world what?
Worship.
That means that, again, shalom, Brother Ernest. Again, what is the focus? All the world did not worship Yahuwah. See what I'm saying? That's not how they operated. So you say that you ain't lying? Shoot. Go ahead.
And when they heard, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, great Diana of the Ephesians.
And the whole city
was filled with confusion.
Tell them what confusion means.
That's some khusus, confusion, disturbance of riotous persons.
They ready to tear stuff up. Go ahead.
And having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia,
Paul's companion,
and travel, they rushed with one accord into the theater.
and Paul would have entered into the people.
The disciples suffered him not.
And certain chief
of Asia, which were his friends,
sent unto him desiring
that he would not adventure himself into the theater.
Some therefore cried one thing,
and some another.
For the assembly
was confused.
The more part,
not wherefore they would come together. And they drew Alexander out of the multitude. The Yahudim put him forward, and Alexander beckoned with the hand and would have made his defense unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Yahudim, all with one voice about the space of 2 hours cried out, Great Diana of the Ephesians.
Now they say when they knew he was a Jew, they say, hey, our God better than yours. Again, they didn't know he was a Jew just because he was there. Notice that his race never came up. And when his race came up, what did they mention? They God. Continue.
And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Men of Ephesians, what man is there that know not how that the city of Ephesians is the worship of the great goddess Diana and of the image which fell down from Jupiter?
Pause. Let's look at this image that fell down from Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is another god. Now, that is the image of Diana, and that was kept in the temple. Some have interpreted this that this was a meteorite, or that she stood on a meteorite, which is what is in what's the name? What you call it? What's that thing called? The cobblestone. That's a meteorite under that cobblestone that they in there kissing. Go ahead.
Seeing then that these things cannot be spoken against, you ought to be quiet and to do nothing rash.
You already said y'all shouldn't even do nothing to him because you can't speak against Diana. Go ahead.
For you have brought here these men which are neither robbers of churches nor yet blaspheme of your goddess. Wherefore, if Demetrius and the craftsmen which are with him have a matter against any man, the law is open, and there are deputies. Let them and plead one another.
You notice how that's how Yahuwah separate. If Yahuwah don't intercede, them people would have killed Paul. Some people would have rioted and tore that man to pieces. Go ahead.
But if you inquire anything concerning other matters, it shall be determined in the lawful assembly.
For we are in danger
to be called in question for this day's uproar.
For their call being no cause.
Whereby we may give an account of this concourse. And when he had thus spoken, he dismissed the assembly. He
came through to break them people up. Them people finna act a fool, man. About Diana. But again, Diana is Artemis. Remember, the gods or the goddesses just change names, but it's the same characters. And most of them, truth be told, most of these goddesses, you literally go back to Eve for the most part. And I'm going to tell you something, at least in modern times, when you come across a woman who always say she a goddess, I guarantee you she ain't no virgin goddess like Diana.
You said the goddess go back to
Eve. Okay. Them worshiping Eve. Most women who say they goddesses, they stomp down dirty leg whores. Wenches, if you would. Ladies of the night. You know, I heard a woman say she wanted to be a lady of leisure. I said, baby, you know what that means? That means you want to be a prostitute. Because a man of leisure is a pimp. Y'all not familiar with that term? If somebody say that's a man of leisure, that means he's a pimp. Yeah, that's what that means. That's where that term come from. That's for a pimp. If you're a woman of leisure, that means you're a prostitute.
Like a female
prostitute.
She like the life of leisure. Look.
She like to get ground and pound.
No, I'm saying the woman that's sending her chicks out, but she don't.
She said, Lord.
He's the graduate of that.
Oh, I missed all these. She said the dog is sacred to Gamal because probably because the huntress Artemis always had hounds in attendance. Artemis, Hecate, Combs, Chandra are the deities attributed, all of them being lunar goddesses. Yeah, I had a couple of women I heard on the internet say they wanted to be a lady because they were talking about having a soft life.
It says woman does not need to earn a living.
Yeah, that's what they tell you on there to get in the streets. And the lady of leisure is a whore. That's a prostitute. See, that's what they be talking about. That's what a woman said. And then dude say, baby, you want to be a prostitute? She ain't with the same way that people get offended when you say that you're a square. And if I ain't no square because you don't know what square means. Square means somebody who doesn't participate in criminal activity. Not, oh, you lame. That's not what square means. Like, if you was in the game, you'll be like, hey, I'm finna get out the game and go live the square life. Meaning I'm all around the board, I'm good. But people think square means, L7, you're a square, you're a lame. No, being a square means you're not a criminal. Yeah, you're not a criminal. Square business means you do good business. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when people say, literally, the song literally say, I'm talking square biz to you, baby. Square biz.
Straight up and right. Baby. Straight up and right. Straight up and right, baby.
I thought it was something else.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
But that's what he's talking about when women say they want to live a soft life, when nowhere in history have any women lived a soft life unless she was the daughter of a king or the wife of one. Those are the only women in the history of mankind that had a soft life. What these women really want to say is, I want to be married to an uber rich man, so all I have to do is spend all his money and have as least amount of sex with him as possible. And how do we know this? Because as soon as a lot of these dudes retire from what they do to make all this money, then women leave.
Take the bag. Thanks for the bag.
Thanks for the bag. That's what happens. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what happens. That's mainly for athletes. You know what I'm saying? Entertainers also. You know what I'm saying? Most regular, I'll be honest with you. Most of them people stay so rich, they don't even be fooling with their, like I say, man, they don't even fool with their wives no more. They just don't get divorced for optics. Niggas ain't been in the same house with their wife for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? They only show up for public appearances with each other. You know what I'm saying? The thought process that people have in this particular society of how things go with certain people in certain income brackets is nowhere near what the reality of how they live. You think these people all lovey-dovey and care about these people? These people only pop out when the camera's out. They go home, he don't talk to this woman, and she don't talk to him. She got the pool boy around the back. She just deal with it discreetly. He got 3-4 women in 3-4 different states. He just deal with them discreetly. They not going to get divorced. See, it's only niggas who get divorced. He ain't going to do this to me. Them rich white folks don't give a damn. Man, go on over there with Rob. Do whatever you do. Just don't let nobody catch you with no wee-wee in your mouth. That's really how they look at it. Like, don't embarrass the family name. It's going to mess with the money. Because they care about the money. They don't care nothing about loving you and you loving me. Don't mess up the money. Because if you make the brand look bad, we ain't going to make no money. That's all they care about. You care about all this. Oh, we rich and we live in this great, lovely life. He come home. He don't want to see her. Shalom, Amuna. He don't want to see her. He don't want to talk to her. Man, I told you, man, Vince McMahon ain't been living with his wife for damn near 20 years.
I was with Urban Myers and he with.
Yeah, he was up there in the bar with some old young white woman.
She was sitting on his lap.
They like, what's going on? See, he was tripping. You don't do that in public, sir.
I will say like I had a drink too.
I could tell he was having a good time. He got a little drink. I know the camera was rolling. My bad. The character. Yeah.
See, Emma just mentioned what y'all like a lady of leisure, a euphemistic term for a prostitute. I know about the pimping game. You a lady of leisure, you a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? But I know y'all don't know about that. Y'all never been intertwined in that life, man. That's different because they don't look at having coitus as a real activity.
Coitus?
And then on top of that, if you were, let me say it. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it.
No, you're right, though. Like she was saying, like.
No, it might be. She said it might be just us old folk.
They don't consider busting it open.
Yeah, they don't consider busting it open and earning your keep. But listen, let me tell you something. If you're a real good whore, a real good one, you ain't even got to have sex to get no money out the door. A lot of women ain't got that type of ability. You know what I'm saying? You got women that could get dudes to drop 10, 20, 30, 40 bands. She ain't got a hugging. I seen it. Maybe not that much money, but I done seen it. I seen it. You know what I'm saying? I done seen dudes shoot bread to a chick, man. He ain't even gonna smash, God. I done seen it. Now, is that every dude? Nah, some of them do, but yeah, you're gonna have to pony up them yams. And they know it. But yeah, man, if you're a lady of leisure, you're a prostitute. Because you with a man of leisure, he's a pimp. Yeah, man, that's a different world. Stay out of it. That's all I can tell you. You got it. It's real. That world, boy, your heart got to be cold. You know what I'm saying? You got to be numb to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, look here, man. That ain't the world you want to live in, man. You better thank the Lord for the word and thank the Lord you wasn't poor.
That's right.
You know how many girls I know got on drugs because they felt like they had to use what they got to get what they want? Now she smoke crack. I'm not making that up. Some of them got beat up and killed because usually with stripping, prostitution ain't too far behind.
So you give me
it's hand in hand.
Yeah,
it's hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So I just say this stuff because you see stuff glamorized in movies or TV and certain stuff, and you don't really know the inner workings of their life. That's a different life. Stay away from it. So a lot of women echo that because in reality, they prostitutes. They just don't know it. They just don't want to work the blade. But she's a prostitute. She will sell herself to the highest bidder. She just thinks because I'm not standing on the corner messing with Johns that I'm not a prostitute. But when you open your mouth and say you want to be a lady of leisure, baby, you are a prostitute. That's what you are. And it is what it is. Like I say, it might be us old folks because we come from a different time. Yeah, boy, if you was a lady of leisure, you was a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no woman, a virtuous woman wouldn't dare want to be called a lady of leisure. She would take that as offense. These women in this generation just lazy. They don't want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They want optimal rewards with minimum labor. Because you feel like it's the man's job to do. No, it's your job to do your job. And your job is to build his house in whatever way it's required. Ain't that what God said to do? That's what he said to the men. It's your job to build my house and do what I require of you. Not what you going to tell me you going to do. Imagine you told God, this is what I'm going to do. But is that what I told you to do? Or is that what I need you to do? Because if that ain't what I need you to do, I don't give a damn what you did. It didn't benefit me. That was to make yourself feel good and say, I see you got to pay me. See how they work then by trying to keep the law to get validation. My God, today. Working smooth on that. Let's finish reading about Asherah. I don't know who I got you. There she go. In Sumer, Amorite goddess named Ashtarim is said known to have been worshipped in Sumer. Her Amorite providence is further supported by her status as the wife of Mardu, and you know who that is, or Amaru, who was a Sumerian Mesopotamian god served by the Amorites. And you know who the Amorites are. His parents were Anu and Urash. Matter of fact, let me read this stuff that I got on here, man, before I get too far off the beaten path. I'm about to go to the biggest secret. If you already had the book, I sent it earlier today, or last night, I should say. I am going to be reading chapter 1, which is on page 1. The Martians have landed. I'll let you know what paragraph I'm going to go into. I don't want to read the days of decisions. Oh, I put it in the Facebook group chat. I would say if you on Facebook and you want to be added to the group chat, I can put you in there because that's where I send them books at. I don't know if I can be able to text it to you because it's a large PDF file, but I'll try right now, though. Yeah, it didn't let me send it. I am on page 3. Do I want to start at page 3? I'm gonna start on page 4 in the under the first paragraph that is on page. The first paragraph that's on page 4. A deafening silence. The incredible feats of building some become explainable, and so does the mystery of why early civilizations like Egypt and Sumer, the land of Shinar in the Bible, began at their peak of their development and then fell into decay. When the normal course of evolution is start at a lower level and slowly advance through learning and experience, there was clearly infusion of a highly advanced knowledge. that was later lost to most people. In every culture throughout the ancient world, stories and texts which describe the gods who brought this advanced knowledge. This would again explain the mystery of how the ancients had phenomenal understanding of astronomy. There are endless legends all over the world of a time they call the Golden Age, which was destroyed by a cataclysm in the fall of man. The ancient Greek poet Hesiod described the world before the fall. Man lived like gods without vices or passions, vexation or toil, in a happy companionship with divine beings. Keep out in parentheses, extraterrestrials. They passed their days in tranquility and joy, living together in perfect equality. United by mutual confidence and love, the earth was more beautiful than now and spontaneously yielded abundant a variety of fruits. Human beings and animals spoke the same language and conversed with each other, telepathy. Men were considered mere boys at 100 years old. They had none of the infirmities of age to trouble them, and when they passed the regions of superior life, it was in a gentle slumber. That nigga just made up a whole bunch of stuff. But I have read that type of stuff before. Utopian as that may sound, there are countless stories from every ancient culture which describe the world in the distant past in those terms. When we can recreate the vision again, if we only change the way we think, the most comprehensive accounts of advanced race are contained in 10,000 clay tablets found in 1850, about 250 miles from Baghdad, Iraq. An Englishman, Sir Austin Henry Layard, as he excavated the site of Nineveh, the capital of Assyria. This was located near the present Iraqi town Mosul. Others have found in this region were once called Mesopotamia. The original source of this knowledge was not the Assyrians, but the Sumerians, who lived in the same area. It is estimated 4,000 to 2,000 BC. I will refer to the clay tablets, therefore, as the Sumerian texts or tablets. They are one of the great historical finds, unimaginable, yet 150 years after they were discovered, they are still ignored by conventional history and education. Why? Because they demolished the official version of events. The most famous translator of the tablets is the scholar and author Zecharia Sitchin. Now, I read Zecharia Sitchin books before. Hold on. And from what I've heard from at least gentlemen on here, that Zecharia Sitchin is a crackpot who was not capable or able of translating these texts. Emma, would you say that's accurate of the view of Zecharia Sitchin? I don't remember. I can't remember the book of his that I read, but I do remember his name. But I did read one of his books, though. But let's continue. That's who Dr. York got his information from about the Sumerians, because Dr. York was my introduction to the Sumerian tablets. And y'all done heard of the Nibiru before, haven't you? Y'all ain't never heard of Nibiru?
That was in the that's what NU them.
Yeah.
That's the same book. What's it called? You just mentioned it, brother.
Yes, that's an accurate view. But he has been redeemed lately by. Oh, I didn't know that. She said, but his work has been redeemed by PhDs from prominent universities. You know, sometimes some people demolish certain scholars based off the fact that they don't like them. I'm gonna be honest with you. In the scholastic world, man, stuff can be real petty. It's no different than any other area of expertise, to be 100% honest with you. But let's continue. He said, who can read Sumerian, Aramaic, and Hebrew and other Middle and Near Eastern languages. He has extensively researched and translated the Sumerian tablets and has no doubt that they were describing extraterrestrials. Some researchers say that he used a later version of Sumerian language to translate an earlier one, and therefore some of his translations may not be 100% accurate. I think his themes are correct. Indeed, other accounts and evidence support this, but I personally doubt some of the detail. I think that a number of Sitchin's interpretations are extremely questionable, while I agree with his overall thesis. According to his translations in text and others, oh, absolutely, Omar, absolutely. The Sumerian civilization from which many features of modern society derive was a gift of the gods, not mythical gods, but physical ones, who lived among them. The tablets called these gods the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, and the Dinger, the righteous ones of the blazing rockets. The name of Sumner itself Kingiger, the land of the Lord of the blazing rockets, and also the land of the watchers, according to Sitchin. The ancient text known as the Book of Enoch also called the gods the watchers, as did the Egyptians. The Egyptian name for the gods, the Netariru, literally translates as watchers. And they said that their gods came in heavenly boats. According to Zechariah Sitchin, the tablets describe how the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, the planet of the crossing, which he believes has a 3,600 elliptical orbit that takes it between Jupiter and Mars and then out into far space beyond Pluto. Modern science has identified a body, it's called Planet X, which has been located beyond Pluto and is believed to be a part of this solar system. So, again, Dr. York was my first introduction into Nibiru, which is a planet. Now, y'all know how the text describes planets, correct? In Hebrew, what is the Hebrew word for planet? What does it mean? Stars. Now, whether these are actual, gaseous rocks that can be inhabited, there's no way for us to know that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to what's in space and what's not in space, you have to take Mr. Charlie word for it. I don't take Mr. Charlie word for nothing. Can't do it. It's not even possible for me. That's just me personally. Once I know that a person has a propensity to lie, it's over with. So now you have to determine who are these watchers. Because I'm going to tell you something. There are multiple cultures that have hieroglyphs of creatures on what you would consider to be a blazing rocket. Are y'all familiar with the ziggurats of Quetzalcoatl? Are y'all familiar with Quetzalcoatl at all?
I know Quasimodo is.
That boy, that wild. Well, Emma, I'm about to introduce him to Quetzalcoatl right now.
That's the serpent god.
That's the serpent god of the Aztecs in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. The snake man.
The snake man. Quetzalcoatl, also known as the feathered serpent, the major deity in the ancient Mesoamerican religions and a creator god in Aztec and Mayan mythology. It comes from the Nahuatl word Quetzalli, meaning the tail feather of the Quetzalcoatl bird. Kotal meaning snake. He's depicted as a combination of a serpent and a green Quetzalcoatl bird. Quetzalcoatl was often shown with a coincidal hat, shell jewelry, a conch shell, and a red duck-billed face mask. He was the god of rain and winds. Guess who else is the god of rain and winds that we didn't talk about? Who else was the god of rain and winds? And Said got on there, and Cuckoo Land is another name he went by. Indeed. She said Apocalypto. I never watched that movie. You seen that movie? I think that's Inky. Was the god of rain and wind. You see how this is the same God, just in a different society? Joseph said that's a great film. I ain't gonna lie, I probably never know. He was associated with the morning and evening star. He was also the patron of science, agriculture, learning, crafts, and arts. He was known by different names in different cultures, including Cuckoo Elcan to the Mayans, Gucamats to the Quiche of Guatemala, Ecatal to the Gulf Coast Huastecs. And he was so important that many Hispanic cultures worshipped him. His teachings reached many civilizations, including the Olmec, Maya, Mixtec, and Toltec. In Aztec culture, Quetzalcoatl was a priestly title, and the two most important priests of the Aztec Templo Mayor were called something that I cannot say. I say, I'm aware, I'm still pissed how they played the Wakandans after a while. I'll show you. Oh, man. Do they have a picture? Here's a picture of it. Here's a picture of it. That's a picture. He's signified with Venus, so they definitely in scholastic circles are going to equate Quetzalcoatl with Lucifer. They said the exact significance and attributes of Quetzalcoatl varied somewhat between civilizations and through history. There are several stories about his birth. In a version of the myth, he was born by a virgin named Kilaman, to whom the god Omato appeared in a dream. In another story, the virgin Kilaman conceived Quetzalcoatl by swallowing an emerald. A third story narrates that Kilaman was hit in the womb by an arrow shot by Mixcoatl, and 9 months later she gave birth to a child, which is called Quetzalcoatl. A fourth story narrates that Quetzalcoatl was born from Coilcu, who had already had 400 children who formed the stars of the Milky Way. According to another version of the myth, he is one of 4 sons of Omet Takiltai and Omet Katuatal, the 4, each of whom presided over one of the 4 cardinal directions of the West. Presides the god of light, justice, mercy, and wind. Over the south, the god of war, and over the east, the god of gold, farming, and springtime. And over the north, known by no other name other than Tezak Tilpoka, the god of judgment, night, deceit, sorcery, and the earth. Quetzalcoatl was considered the god of the morning, and his twin brother Exotol was the evening star, Venus. As the morning star, he was known by the title meaning the Lord of the Star of the Dawn. He was the inventor of books and the calendar and the giver of corn to mankind, and sometimes as a symbol of death and resurrection. Now, as I've mentioned all of these things about these different deities, and Emma just dropped something in the chat. Another book about him, the Mimenic Rivalry Sacrifice of the Lord of the Dawn. I'll drop that in there for y'all real quick. Like, now y'all know how many different cultures have their main god who happened to be born of a virgin, and that's why they say that. That's why a lot of brews be like, "Oh, see that virgin story is pagan and this, that, there, and the third." Now, me personally, this is my perspective. My perspective is when the demons saw, well, the unclean spirit seeing Mashiach, what did they say? Have you come to torment us before the time? And what did they? And they say, we know who you. They said they know who he was. What did they? Who did they say he was? So they knew who he was. Now the book says that the man of sin will have understanding of what? So me personally, from my perspective, I have an understanding of the text, and I told y'all this before. I am a believer that Satan is aware of some of the dark sentences that pertain to Mashiach and what he had to fulfill, and that he incorporated some of these things in influencing other ancient cultures to spread that around, so that when the actual Mashiach comes to fulfill the text, that it would cause people to doubt. Because you'd be like, well, Quetzalcoatl was born of a virgin. They say Horus is born of a virgin, but clearly we know that's not true.
I just said that. Essentially, I was looking at it. It was pretty much saying, like Noah taught his sons, and then like his sons, like Ham and them took the
and distorted them.
Yeah, and taught it as a religion to their people.
Well, I mean, they took it and distorted it, because that's the conversation we were just having about. You say, oh, the nations can't get salvation. Now, I'm going to ask y'all, how would you show how the nations could get salvation simply with just the story of Noah and nothing else? But I mean, I'm talking about details, specific, like isolated, because these niggas not just going to accept that. I'm saying that because I just had this conversation. When I say just had it, I mean like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago.
Gentiles.
Oh, I'm leaving out a bit of piece of information. Remember that people are coming from Israelite, the only ones can get it perspective. So how do you isolate that? You say Yahuwah told him to warn the people, but the nations didn't really exist yet, right? Oh, no, I mean, the nations were there, but you don't read. Him being a preacher of righteousness is something that Peter elaborates on. The narrative from Genesis 6, 7, 8, and 9 don't speak on him doing any of these things. That doesn't mean that he did not do them. It just doesn't elaborate. So for Peter to say that, that means that's something that the Lord gave him insight on. You know what I'm saying? He said the world's deities I would sum up as sun worship versus the Son of God. The worship of the host of heaven, though they have different names, they have the same function, the sun and the moon. And Emma Sharona, I would say that would be 100% accurate assessment. You say Noah had all manner of beasts in the ark. So listen, right? This is because, of course, I'm leaving out the totality of the conversation. So when you look at the totality of the conversation we were having, and I was explaining to him, you have the genealogy in Matthew, you have the genealogy in Luke. The genealogy in Matthew is tying Abraham to who? To Mashiach. And tying David to who? To Mashiach. Now, why does he need to tie him to Mashiach? That goes back to your first thing that we didn't finish in Jeremiah 31. This will bring it all together. Give me Genesis 12 and 1.
Now Yahuwah has said unto Abram, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house into a land that I will show you. Now I'll make of you a great nation. I will baruch you and make your name great. You shall be a blessing. Now baruch them that baruch you and curse them that curse you. And in you shall all families of the earth be baruched.
And you shall all the who?
Families of the earth be baruched.
Tell them what families mean. Go ahead.
It's mishpachah, clan, family.
A clan.
A people, a nation, a tribe.
A people, a nation. So that's everybody. Or is that just Israel? My God, today. What you got?
For Yahusha to be tied into David, it got to be coming through Mary, though. Because we know he's not from the seed.
Yeah, but with that, when now, see, and I only say this here, not that you're wrong. That's the diversion tactic that they're going to use to take you off the beaten path. See, we don't even care about Joseph or Mary.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying that information is wrong to have. I'm talking about when you having a discourse with somebody about that, they're going to use that to try to run you off the road.
Yeah.
So you got to do like what Roman Reigns did that time. Sami Zayn tried to break character. No, stay right here. I need you right here. I can't let you get away. You know what I'm saying? I need you to stay right here. Because see, when you having conversations with some of these people because they're not intellectually honest, they're trying anything to steer you off the road.
Because the argument they're going to use Numbers 118 saying your seed belongs to your father.
Yeah.
And we know he don't come from the seed of whatchamacallit, so how is he this? That's the tactic.
Yeah, I mean, that's when they go to talk about the woman's seed. Because the woman had the seed, and that seed is the word. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I can take it to Genesis 3.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But again, see, they're not ready for that type of level of understanding. That's outside their pay grade. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at that from that aspect, boom, the kingdom of Israel, the 144,000, anything they want to mention, all that's established right there in Matthew. We don't need to talk about that. When you come over here to Luke, though, now it's pinning you to Adam. This is where the importance come in at, because Shem, Ham, and Yafet are whose sons? And Noah is whose son? And then Lamech is whose son? So on and so forth, get you to who? To get you to Adam. So now you get to Adam, you talking about the redemption of mankind through the second Adam. So now, of course, you know the ark is a symbol of eternal redemption because, of course, Mashiach is a sign of the ark. Now, in this ark, because if he didn't want the nations to be saved, he could have said, you leave Ham and Yafet off this boat and just bring Shem. He could have did that, but he didn't do that. He said, bring all your sons. You know why all your sons can come in here? Because all the families of the earth shall be blessed because of you, even though this talking about Noah before Abraham even on the scene. So when you see Shem, Ham, and Yafet, and the line keep going through Shem because it's still a chosen group of people for your Matthew chapter 1 genealogy, but Ham and Yafet were extended salvation, though. Because he could have literally told them, nah, don't bring them on the boat, just the sons of God with Shem. I'm going to keep the son of God line through them. So as you mentioned, a man can't preach except he be sent. You know what I'm saying? So that means that Noah taught Ham and Yafet the same thing he taught Shem. It ain't like, oh, I'm going to teach Shem. Like I say, he only gave the laws to Israel. You can't say that because Ham and Yafet got it too. Esau had it too. The children that Abraham had with Keturah, they had it too. Now you can see how some of these things get proliferated in the earth. You know what I'm talking about? Because all these people, different people had it based off the individuals they were tied to. And then after that, it just takes its spin. So the days of the week, that is true. Absolutely.
From the covenant he made with the rainbow. Once
Indeed.
he already came with that.
Indeed. And Manny mentioned that this afternoon also.
Some type of way
because he made a covenant with, and it's the key point because we read that because Manny mentioned that. He said when he made a covenant, he said, this is with your sons who are with you. So that's Ham, Shem, and Yafet. It don't even matter what he said after that. We're dealing with all flesh under heaven. He specifically said, and your sons. That means your sons who are part of the extended salvation that I offered then, and therefore your sons are part of this covenant I'm making with you. And that continues the Gentiles because Japhet is in there. And that continues the Africans because Ham is in there. And it's over. And you ain't even got to go on the back end. So when you see him say he's the propitiation of the atonement for the whole world, it's right there in Genesis 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's no discussion. Dudes are arguing, oh, you trying to save everybody and take the kingdom from us. Number one, it ain't your kingdom. That's God's kingdom. That's God's kingdom. That's not your kingdom. You didn't build it. He said everybody who born in his kingdom got to become pope. You nigga go on the hill. Because you won't humble yourself before God. You dirty-faced bastard, you. You funky-faced, no good, dirty-faced bastard, you. Say a Catholic church got to pay out $1.5 billion for rubbing on little boy boots.
That's real?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Who they paying?
LA Times.
Who they paying?
Shoot. All the people they've been touching on.
Filed a complaint, probably.
They probably had a class action lawsuit. Man, you know how many Catholic churches been sued for rubbing on booty boy? Man, too many. They done had so many settlements over the last 40 years, man. I'm talking about mainly little boys, but they were touching on little girls, but they were mainly little boys. Catholic priests just homosexuals, man. Pedophiles into pederasty.
Man, boy, love.
Man, boy, love. They going to hell.
That nigga name was Man Boy on that joint.
That nigga name was Man Boy. Ain't that son? Let's continue. Zechariah Sitchin. What is he talking about? Let me move along. We had 2 hours. I'm going to go into chapter. Hold on.
Man Boy.
I am in book page 6 of The Biggest Secret Ever Told. Second paragraph, page 6. Most stunning about the Sumerian tablets is the way it describes the creation of Homo sapiens. Sitchin says the Anunnaki came to the earth an estimated 450,000 years ago to mine gold in what is now Africa. The main mining center was in today's Zimbabwe, the area the Sumerians called Abzu, deep deposit. He claims studies by Anglo-American corporations have found evidence of gold mining in Africa at least 60,000 years ago, probably 100,000. The gold mined by the Anunnaki was shipped back to their home planet from bases in the Middle East. Sitchin claims, the tablets say, I think there's so much more to know about gold mining business, and I don't believe that's the main reason why they came here. If indeed it was a reason at all. At first, the gold mining was done by the Anunnaki version of their working classes. Sitchin says, but eventually there was a rebellion by the miners, and the Anunnaki royal elite decided to create a new slave race to do the work. The tablets describe how the genes of the Anunnaki and those of the native humans were combined in a test tube to create an updated human capable of doing the task the Anunnaki required. The idea of test tube babies would have sounded ridiculous when the tablets were found in 1850, but this is precisely what scientists are now able to do. Again and again, modern research supports the themes of the Sumerian tablets. For instance, there was a sudden and so far unexplained upgrade of the human physical form around 200,000 years ago. Official science is silent on the cause of this and mutters terms like the missing link. But some unavoidable facts need to be addressed. Suddenly, the previous physical form known as Homo erectus become what we now call Homo sapiens. From the start, the new Homo sapiens and the ability to speak a complex language and the size of the human brain increased massively. Yet the biologist Thomas Huxley said that major changes like this can take tens of millions of years. This view is supported by the evidence of the Homo erectus, which appears to have emerged in Africa about 1.5 million years ago. For well in excess of 1 million years, their physical form seems to have remained the same, but then out of nowhere, the dramatic change to Homo sapiens. About 35,000 years ago, another sudden upgrade in the emergence of Homo sapiens, the physical form we see today. The Sumerian tablets named the two people involved in the creation of the same race. The chief scientist called Enki, the Lord of the Earth, and Nick Shirag, also known as Nintai, Lady Life, because her expertise was in medicine. Now, this goes into something that Emma had been looking at. How many of y'all are familiar with the pre-Adamite conversation? There are a multitude. Now, number one, you have numerous people that believe Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 are two different creation stories. A lot of people believe that. I am not one of those people, but a lot of people do. You know what I'm saying? So then, when you're dealing with pre-Adamites, this is that's the belief that there was a group of people who existed before Adam. Now, remember, we talked about that before, because we talked about if Adam's not the first man, then Yahushua is not the firstborn of creation, and therefore he's not a second Adam, and you can put the book down to eat, drink, for tomorrow we die. Now, I mentioned that because notice that they said the native race of people who were on the planet. See, it said that the Anunnaki created what you would know as the Adamites or Adam, but there was a group of people already here. That was the Homo erectus. You know what I'm saying? This is where some of these things come from. You know what I'm talking about? Now, everybody who holds to a pre-Adamite theology does not necessarily teach that. How many of y'all familiar with Lilith? Mm-hmm. I know about Lilith.
What's that?
I know. That's more of that's in the Talmud. She's in the Talmud. That's supposed to be Adam's other wife. He's supposed to have two wives, but she didn't want to give him no coochie. He said, "Get beneath me, woman," and she said, "I will not." Now you can take and do with that what you will. And allegedly they got rid of her and gave him Eve. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you something, man. There's a lot of stuff out here, man. I'm trying to tell you something, man. And when you don't know the word that good, people throw stuff at you like this here, you be like, oh. See, I don't want you to be one of those people who just be like, if it's not the Bible, I don't want to hear it. Just because you hear it don't mean you got to believe it. If somebody told you your mama was a whore and smoked crack, would you believe it just because they said it? Very well then. You should know your God well enough to know that this don't sound like him. You know what I'm saying? He said, I heard Lilith one before. And say it's the Uber Buns, the other one I haven't read. Yeah, he said he asked for some yams, man, and she said no. Buns. She said no. She said there ain't no sweet potatoes for you today, buddy. Some people do say it all depends on what you read. Always remember with a lot of these myths and a lot of these characters from these myths that the story can change depending on the culture. These stories are not consistent across the board. It's only one story that's consistent across the board, and that's the Book of Yahuwah. And that's only consistent if it's in the hands of people who really serve God. Because if you put it in the hands of the wrong person, that story not going to be consistent. They'll say a lot of things. These boys tell you Songs of Solomon mean you can perform Caligula. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Because that's what Dave Chappelle said on Half Baked. You know, you go into the store, get that stuff you used to eat all the time back in school. Yeah, that's what. How many of y'all have heard people say that Songs of Solomon is promoting fellatio and connivance? How many of you familiar with that? Because you got people who teach that. Do you know how demented of a perverted mind you got to have to say you read a divine book that is telling you, oh yeah, this talking about oral sex right here. Yeah, that's what that means, brother. Yeah, man, you could go ahead like the groceries. So I hate when they do that. In the show Supernatural, it's a lot of biblical references with Cain being a pre-mortal immortal, and the mark of Cain making someone super murderous if he passed it on. Lilith was a demon on the show. You see how they done deified Cain? She said, I don't know if they got that. Like I say, that's Talmudic. You can read Isaiah 34 and 14 because Lilith is really in the Talmud. Because that's really another That's a goddess from a different culture. Go ahead.
The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow, and the screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest and lay and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek you out of the book of Yahuwah and read.
That's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people come up with a lot of stuff, man. You gotta remember, man, the Egyptians like booty hole and ate rhinoceros butt. And I'm not making that up. You finna listen to some people who ate rhinoceros butt? Hell, the dude who out there in South Carolina around here eating bear shoulder.
You seen it?
That boy made bear shoulder.
That nigga seasoned that junk up, man. Cooked it. You know what I mean?
He talking about, yeah, you see that right there? You ain't gonna know nothing about right there. I don't want to know about that right there.
I showed you that with the bear. I was like,
boy, that boy made bear leg and bear shoulder.
I heard you talking about it.
Yeah,
I want to know where he got the bear from.
bro, whole bear.
Calls
on it and all.
He ate the ball.
Bro,
That boy fried the bear. He roasted the bear.
Smoked it.
This man done grilled python. I know raccoon because I know people eat snake, but python? Oh, I know a few people that done cooked and ate a snake. Them straight country people. But that doggone cooking a bear, that's just some eating I don't want to participate in. Nigga be like, yeah, what you eating on? Grizzly bear.
Boy trying to get the honey out the bear.
What did the nigga Mystical say? You see me fighting the bear? Help the bear. Mystical must have got hold of that bear. You say you don't condone that around here? He different. He is different. I tell you this here though. That boy got the greatest doggone grease trap you'd ever want to see, boy. That nigga stuff be golden. I don't even like fried food, but his stuff is be looking beautiful.
It's a dude from the country.
The dude who made the bear.
Oh no, yeah, you can tell he know what he was doing. The way he seasoned it.
Okay, it's the same dude.
Oh no.
Now he got a thing right where he put it on this little thing right, and he lowered down. He said, "I'm finna baptize that there." You see that there? Yeah, he baptize that there. And he rolled it down. You know the grease. You know he changed the grease every time because the junk floats straight to the top. That junk always goes, never brown.
He got the best looking chicken wings I ever seen.
He got the best looking fried food I ever seen. And I don't even like fried food like that. That nigga junk is immaculate. You know what I'm talking about? Disrespect you.
You disrespecting my
You can't fool with that man.
When it comes to that fry,
You disrespecting my burger.
He come out real cold.
Cold.
He come out like an idol.
You come out like you was singing Jill Scott messing with that nigga. That nigga say, you see that Kalisha right there? You see that right there? See, look, I'm going to baptize that Kalisha right there.
Nah, I ain't gonna front. Yeah, you can cook a person. You can tell that boy is cook a person, boy.
He cook
Times
anything.
get tough, boy.
He frying you.
That boy gonna make you look like filet mignon, boy.
Ain't even gonna tell nobody.
Delicacy. This is delicacy.
He ain't gonna tell you nobody that's man roast.
Damn, that's a real rump roast.
That's a real rump roast. That's real rump.
That's a real rump.
Lord have mercy.
Dang, boy. I'm told no lies with that one.
She said, I don't want no possum, no snake, no none of that. Shoot, Cub making all that. And when he said that, you see that right there? Look at that right there. That nigga in South Carolina. You see that right there? Ain't nobody fooling that. That real country living right there, boy. That's right there. I seen that boy do a crab boil with no boil. Dead serious. That boy put some junk and set a fire and put that junk on there. And I ain't never seen nobody do that. That nigga make anything. That nigga stomach should be all messed up. That nigga colon ruined. I don't wish no evil on that man. That man gonna have some type of colon cancer eating all that stuff. It ain't right. It ain't right. That nigga bad man though. That nigga bad man. That nigga be frying the junk and broiling a piece of fish right next to it. Cold. Don't even cut the head off. That nigga fried like that and all. I ain't never seen nobody fry no food with that type of texture.
But gotta have his own flour on something.
Man, that nigga just be having niggas in his backyard. You see that right there, boy? Boy, he had somebody ate one of his chicken wings. Boy, that nigga looked like he was about to have an orgasm eating that food. I said, boy, that junk can't be that good. That nigga, oh, that nigga ate that junk. Said, ooh.
Man, go ahead, man.
I ain't making that up. Y'all think I'm making that up? Tell Madam I'm from Georgia, and I guarantee you somebody who scrape up roadkill. You better know they making some roadkills too. You went out there with them country white folks. Lord have mercy. I hope it ain't die of itself. That's a sin before God.
Them boys real emotions, man.
The boy said, that's a possum. That's a possum. Go get that thing there, boy. Pick him up tonight.
I ain't know that boy put a possum on there.
I don't want to be that hungry, man. When I was in prison, that white dude tried to, you want some raccoon? I said, hell no.
Y'all had corn in there?
No, the CEO had done. He coming through like, hey, boy, I got this raccoon. Boy, y'all boy want some of this raccoon? Well, shoot, lying to me. You gotta remember, we in a minimum security prison, man. We working on
that the road prison.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can see that up there.
That boy like, hey, boy, you want some of this coon, boy?
You free me tonight. I'll take a bite.
I don't want none of that. I don't want nothing that look like he bite.
Man, go ahead,
That
man.
nigga got rabies, cuz I don't want that. Okay, they ain't cut. Basically, shoot y'all boys up the road. All you got to eat bag sandwiches. I got you want some raccoon? I got some raccoon, man. I was gonna take the bag if I was free. I'll take hungry.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want no raccoon.
Don't offer me none.
Them niggas hang out in garbage cans, man. Hell no. She said they got actual. I ain't never got close enough to a raccoon to find out if he got a finger.
Got a family.
Fingers.
Oh,
so they got fingers. I don't want nothing to do with no raccoon, boy.
That's how they open up the trash can.
I don't know how they open it up, but I ain't coming with them.
I ain't gonna lie. You hate to be on the other side of the trash can.
Unfold your trash like this.
Come on, y'all. Let's finish wrapping this stuff up, man.
Lick his fingers.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me give y'all some info about Lily.
Stand up.
We ain't even talked about Marduk yet. My God. All right, y'all. Yo. Here we go. Check this out. Rain it on in. It's over. And you still talking to this nigga.
It's better in class.
Mm-hmm. Lilith, a mythological figure and goddess demon from Jewish and Mesopotamian folklore. Lilith is the oldest surviving demon from the ancient Judaic tradition and appears in the world's oldest text, the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is the Sumerian account of the flood. Her name is thought to come from the Mesopotamian demons named Lilu, which translate to night monster. In Jewish folklore, Lilith is said to be Adam's first wife before Eve. She is said to have left the Garden of Eden after Adam refused to give her a superior position during sex. Lilith is also said to have demonic offspring with the archangel named Samael. Lilith is the symbol of power, independence, and mystery. She represents the strength and sexual vitality and mystery of womanhood, aka a whore. Lilith is also associated with evil, especially against women in childbirth and children. She is said to haunt people in dreams and visions and to attack people sexually and reproductively. Amulets bearing the names of certain angels was said to counteract Lilith's evil. Here's a picture of Lilith, if you would. A very ugly horse. Sound like Lilith said, hey, man, either I want a peg or I want to get on top. And Adam said no.
I'm the first.
And the last. Said Lilith is the patron goddess of those who want to ignite the spark of sensuality. Practitioners who do not shy away from the dark feminine and embrace it with open arms and an iron will. The first historical whisper of Lilith goes far back as 3000 BCE, originating in Sumner and Mesopotamia. She is acknowledged as the queen of heaven and known as Inanni or Ishtar, or will later be the basis of the Greek goddess Aphrodite and other Mesopotamian regions of Sumner. Lilitu is known as a class of female demons that attack in the night. Lilith originally was portrayed as a handmaiden to Inanna, a well-loved goddess worshipped in Sumer, which involved prostitution in the temple of Inanna. Sexuality was seen as a gift from the heavens and was celebrated as such. It is believed that Inanna or Lilith was created in order to separate sexuality and lust from the beloved goddess Inanna. Lilitu was cited as a demon sent out to Inanna to seduce men and steal them away in the night. While in the present day, the name Lilith is riddled with negative associations, many practitioners work with her as a way to connect with their inner sexuality and desire, aka be a whore. There is mention of Lilith in the Dead Sea Scrolls between 408 and 318 BCE. As well, she was associated with the wild and untamed beasts, bastards, and demons. Beginning at the Common Era, Lilith was the personification of sexual deviance and wickedness and the original succubus. Her daughters were succubi and her sons incubi. These creatures were often blamed for rape and assault of women. Do y'all know what a succubus is? So we getting a lot. So they ain't gonna never get to the stuff I want. But look here, right? Just like Mama Steph said the other day, it's better for you to get a head start on this type of stuff now, to be familiar with these type of things. You know what I'm saying? As far as ancient civilization and history is concerned. Let me tell y'all something, man. There is never, and I mean never, a wrong time to be astute, studied, and learned in any manner of world history. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody who tells you that you shouldn't be studying history is someone that you should not be listening to. There's never not a time to want to know about the world around you, because the works of the past shape the works of now. And the works of the past are still influencing the world to this very day. And to think anything otherwise is to just be grossly irresponsible. A succubus is a female demon, a supernatural entity that appears in men's dreams to seduce them, usually through sexual activity. The male equivalent of a succubus is an incubus. The word succubus comes from Middle English and medieval Latin and was first recorded between 1350 and 1400. The concept of a succubi and an incubi can be traced back to medieval folklore. Some anthropologists and psychologists believe that succubi and incubi are supernatural explanations for sleep paralysis and hallucinations. Y'all know what sleep paralysis is, correct? What do black people call it? Ride in your back. Now, they believe, as you just seen, they believe that that's a succubus. That's a woman, a female demon trying to suck your sexual vitality out of you. That's what they just said that they believe that. And the reverse for the woman being an incubi or a male demon doing that. But we know that we cannot see scripturally any such thing of a female demon. Now, I have seen stories from people who believe that they were sexually violated in a homosexual fashion by an unclean spirit. Wet dreams are a natural phenomenon in men. That's just the releasing of seminal fluid uncontrollably during REM sleep at the beginning stages of puberty. Now, it can continue over a certain period of time, but once a man reaches a certain age, that just doesn't happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's usually between the beginning of puberty and maybe at max 2 to 3 years after. You know, so, you know, Kalisha, get ready for that. Right. You're going to have to clean some unkempt drawers. No, because he's going to have a wet dream one day. And you're going to come in there and be like, boy, you done peed in the bed? That ain't pee, baby. That ain't pee. Oh no, that's just according to mythology and particular cultures. That's how they see it. Demons riding your back every night?
No, I've never experienced the demons, but
No, what they call sleep paralysis, not that you actually see a demon. That's what black people call it. See, you from up north, so they probably don't say that.
Yeah, but no, it's like before I go to sleep, it's most of the time, but it's like I'm half up, half asleep, and I just can't, I can't move, like, but I'm up, body is sleep. It's
I don't have no
weird.
sleep.
But it's nothing like demon.
No, listen what listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm telling you. That is how people. You from up north, so y'all don't use that terminology. But in the South, what people call sleep paralysis, they say a demon riding your back.
But I've heard stories where people say they've seen like black shadows. I don't see that. I just can't move my body.
Well, that's what it is, period. Most people don't see or hear or anything. They just can't move. And it's a strong force. You can't talk. You can't do nothing.
But it's not like a scary thing because it happens a lot. So I just like.
Well, it's not meant to. It's when they say it's a demon. See that because that's the miseducation of what having a demon fool with you is not necessarily going to be a scary endeavor. You know what I'm saying? But they're containing that because they just say demon. You know what I'm talking about? But it's really just saying there's an unclean spirit trying to sap your sexual vitality. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it describes.
So what you saying, Michael? Like from what I read, they say sometimes like your brain is not caught up with.
That's how it feels.
Well, that's how scientifically they describe
That's
it.
what it is. Really.
Yeah,
Let's
because
see.
I be really tired, but I feel like I'm up because I can see, I can look around the room, but I can't move.
Yeah,
It's weird.
your brain's just trying to catch up.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I thought it was. I mean,
That's really.
That's a scientific
I
explanation.
experienced it.
Yeah.
I think every human being under heaven has experienced it. But I'm just telling you, in the South, if you tell somebody that who is from the South, they're going to tell you, oh, you got demons riding your back. Say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's what they're going to tell you. Up north, y'all might not have them conversations. But once you get below the, I'm not being funny. Once you get below the Mason-Dixon line, that's what you're going to get. Yeah, once you get down south, people are going to tell you, oh, baby, you got demons riding your back. You need to anoint your bed and do all that. That's what they're going to tell you. They wouldn't even have no thought about anything scientific. But I'm just telling you that that's how they look at it, right? That's what they were saying, that certain psychologists and anthropologists. Remember, scholarship is not necessarily 100% all the way around the board and everything. You can have 20 anthropologists study that, and you may get 20 different conclusions. Or you could get 10 conclusions one way, and 3 this way, and 4 that way. So that's just the take of certain anthropologists. But because they have a difficult time explaining this phenomenon. They don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they're referring to Lilith as being a female demon. Now, if you look at this from other cultures' point of view, there are female spirits that are like this. When you look at it from a biblical point of view, there is no such thing. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a female demon. You know what I'm saying? There's no such. Now, when people say succubus in the natural sense, they're talking about the song like Hall & Oates had. You know it? Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. She's a man-eater. That's a succubus. You know what I'm talking about? That is a woman who is trying to suck every bit of life out of you and leave you destroyed. That's what a succubus is. You know what I'm saying? A succubus will drain a man. When a succubus is done with a man, he ain't got nothing left. Now that's what they say. There's an incubi, and that's the male version of a succubus. And when a woman comes across a man who is draining like that, she's done. Yes.
Okay, so what if you going through the sleep paralysis, right? The same symptoms, but it feel like somebody's actually going to choke you? What is that? Is that the same thing, or that's something different?
Well, this is only from Mesopotamian standpoint.
People just experience it differently. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it.
Okay.
Because
I got the average person sleep paralysis, like I'm up, but I can't move.
Now, some people, they feel weight on them.
That's how
For some people, that is mainly, that's why most people, they can't talk. You can't do nothing. Like it's not up, I'm awake and I can't move. You can do what?
I just feel like when people experience it, maybe they don't know what's going on and they just freak out.
No, I don't think even most people panic. Most people wake up and they feel a weight on them. I can't move. Some people get a sense of, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, listen, what I'm telling you, when I'm talking about the weight, not just your body weight, this is the reality of the situation, right? When it comes with a lot of stuff, a lot of people are not accustomed to what would be termed as a spiritual attack. So you would want to explain it away as something else. You know what I'm talking about? Now, some things could just be regular, normal life things, and some things you could be attacked spiritually. You know what I'm talking about? Because you always remember we done talked about this before. When an unclean spirit come to you, the unclean spirit is coming to torment you and to harm and to make you harm yourself. So you have to be spiritually adept and aware to be able to acknowledge what that is. That's why these anthropologists and psychologists are ascribing it to a succubus and an incubi. But when you look in the text and you see somebody dealing with that, no. But just because you don't see it in the text doesn't mean that that never got dealt with. It's not like every single solitary aspect of the human experience is laid out in these 66 books. You know what I'm talking about? 14 if you want to count the Apocrypha and make it 80. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be aware to know when you being spiritually attacked, because boy, Satan could be coming for you. And the man that told you that he'll come for you. So you have to be aware of that and not just sweep it away. Now, of course, what I mentioned is the Southern perspective of it, irregardless if people have an understanding of the word or not. If you go to an old Southern grandma and you tell her that, she's going to tell you a demon riding your back. Now, whether a demon is riding your back or not is not the issue. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just how it's described in the South. People in the West might describe it as something else. People up North might describe it as, hey, it's just as simple, your brain ain't caught up to your body. So it's going to depend on who you talk to. Yeah. Yeah, just depends on who. Yeah, unless they were there.
I was always be sleeping wrong, and my body waking me up like you need to be awake. Like you could suffocate.
I want to say they said the same up there. Michael said she's not familiar. You ever heard somebody say a demon riding your back up? You ain't go to church, so. No, when I say go to church, like knee deep in it, that's what I mean. So if you know what I'm saying, you also have to look at things a cultural from a church standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not knee deep in that culture, then you're not gonna come across that. You know, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? All things is just based, like I said, it's the experience of the individuals and who you were around. You know what I'm saying? Then something like this here, right? I didn't have that junk happen before I was in the word, and nigga, I wasn't even sleep. Nigga ain't what no, or I'm waking up and I can't move. Nigga, I just done laid down. I ain't even went to sleep yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can feel my whole entire spirit moving and being grasped. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't know nothing about nothing. Because the girl I was fooling with at the time, she just said, rebuke it in the name of Jesus. It'll go away. I said, that's what you say. Nigga, I'm like 18. You know what I'm saying?
You said?
So that's why I'm like, shoot, we'll try it out, see what works. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to keep that in mind. We're just sharing you the thought process of ancient civilizations. You know what I'm talking about? It's on you to do the further research on these civilizations. See, I know Amuna been in the church, so she probably gonna hear that up your way. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a collective group of people. So some of the conversation and tales that are had in the South, y'all might not necessarily have, unless you knee deep in the church. You know what I'm saying? And she was. So he said, I thought my life was over. I couldn't move. I knew it was a wrap. That was O said. Mika said, it's scary. It feel like something sitting on my chest, holding me down. Can't talk. I be praying in my head, and it passed. But that's her experience. Now, Mika said, science says it's the body caught between a weak and a sleeping state. And she said she definitely heard it's a sexual demon holding you down and has intercourse with you while you sleep. And that's where the thought process, where the anthropologists and are saying that. And you have people in modern times who said that they were homosexually violated by an unclean spirit. Now, whether an unclean spirit would want the rectum of a man is beyond me. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see an unclean spirit saying, there's some fresh butt. Let me get that.
I mean, it's the fact that I look at it like it's the fact that
I'm thinking that maybe the evil spirit inside you.
Mainly because, as we'll see during this particular journey that we're going down, looking at the different aspects of society and contrast of other societies and contrasting them biblically again. Most of these deities, it was always some type of sexual type of act associated with these gods. So usually, if at least in the minds of most people, when you came in contact with these gods, they have transmuted that sexual degeneracy with them gods over to the unclean spirits that you read about in the Bible, and then say, okay, well, this is what this happened. You know what I'm talking about? Because even when Lilith says she's a sex demon, she's a succubus. You know what I'm talking about? This is how she's described. So this is why these things are associated. You know what I'm talking about? And then it just keep on going on down because people don't know where this stuff comes from. You know what I'm saying? They don't really know the basis of a lot of things that people say, believe, or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, sleep paralysis could literally just simply be your body stuck between a state of REM sleep and being awake. You know what I'm saying? Well, other people will believe wholeheartedly that there's a sex demon fooling with you. And then some people believe wholeheartedly that it's a demon messing with you. You know what I'm saying? And the person who believes scientifically that that's what it is, there's not a single solitary thing that you could tell them that would make their mind different. And anybody who believes that Lilith was coming to take that penis, you couldn't tell him nothing else. Because that's what he believes is happening. And another person who believes that they're under attack by unclean spirit, there's absolutely nothing you could tell them to make them believe otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. You know what I mean? But mainly with most of these guys of antiquity, some type of sexual deviance was always associated with them. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. But at the end of the day, Lilith is always associated with a succubus. Now, on a like I said, on a real life sense, you want to stay away from a succubus. A succubus is a woman who's going to drain you of all your mental and emotional energy. That when you're done with her, you are absolutely broken and ruined as a man. Because a succubus in the natural sense is going to want you to become emotionally attached to her. And then once that happens, she's going to destroy you. Incubi, which is the male version of the succubus, is he's going to do the same thing to a woman. He's going to leave her mentally and emotionally and spiritually drained. That when you're done with this man, it's over for you. It may take you years to recover. You know what I'm saying? Mermaid is a siren. But see, who? No, Lilith is past as mermaid. Because mermaids sang beautiful songs to entice you to bring you in.
Mostly for sailors.
Yeah, that was mostly for sailors. That was a Greek thing for sailors. Lilith is before that. She's from Mesopotamia.
Out there in the water with that hard rod. Nigga. Did it.
We're gonna jump right in the water.
Wet.
And die.
That woman.
You're gonna drown.
Yeah, mermaids are different. They demons nonetheless, for lack of a better term. Because there's no such thing as a demon. It's unclean spirits and it's ministering spirits. But there's no such thing as a demon. That's just something that we say. But there's no such thing as a demon. I think demon is a Greek word. But Hebraically, it's not going to be called a demon. It's going to be called an unclean spirit. Or an evil spirit. Or familiar spirit. Familiar spirits is, hold on, Deuteronomy 18.
Can't forget about that, man. That's one close to home. That was one close to home.
I look like I know you.
know you from somewhere.
See, I'm gonna tell you something. These videos here, and a lot of people ain't gonna want to look at. They don't want to hear this type of stuff. I don't know what y'all in here talking about. Now I've been focused on talking to these adults, but all y'all need to close your mouth. Close your mouth. Come on, man. 18-9.
When you are coming to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim give you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you the one that make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, that use divination, an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar ruachs, or a wizard.
Go ahead and tell you what a familiar spirit is, man.
That's old. Necromancer, a water skin bottle, one who evokes the dead.
That's what a familiar spirit is, nigga calling up the dead. That's what necromancy is, communicating with the dead. That's what happens when you're playing with Ouija boards. Shoot tarot cards if you want. That's why it's called a familiar spirit, because you're calling up somebody, you know, I want to talk to my grandma.
Somebody familiar to me.
Somebody familiar to
That's
me.
the ancestors.
I want to call up the ancestors so I can talk to the dead. He said, go ahead and get him Isaiah 8:18. That's why he said you around here hanging out in monuments.
In the groves.
In the graves. Lodging in the graves.
He said, behold, I and the children whom Yahuwah have given me for signs and for wonders in Yasharah from Yahuwah of hosts which dwell in Mount Zion. When they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits.
Seek to them so they can tell you to bring up the dead. Come on.
And unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God?
And not the dead?
To the living, to the dead?
To the living, to the who?
To the dead.
Mika said she used to go get them tarot cards.
Shoot. For your free reading.
Yeah, shoot. Well, this sister used to be in the what's them people called? She used to be involved with that Wiccan stuff.
Really? That what we
Man, when you young and you run across stuff, you fool with a lot of stuff if you don't know what you're messing with.
Everybody doing Instagram a couple years ago. And they had that dude-
You know how many Hebrew women deal with witchcraft? A lot.
Niggas thought it was a trend.
A lot.
He was coming to their house too.
Hey, children. Hey, sit down and pay attention. This ain't time to play with him. Oh, she wasn't ever in the group. That's their friend.
Oh,
That's
that's y'all.
That's your
said
friend.
that was your family affiliate.
Well, I mean, she's like real into. Like she's a witch.
Oh yeah, she all the way with you.
I mean, it was always
I ain't know about that shit.
She only came around a couple times, and I could tell she got offended by me, and she wasn't coming no more.
She been here before that one.
She teaches people how to like
I bet she did. I remember specifically because she had the light-skinned girl with her when we were talking about you gotta love your husband as unto the Lord, and I seen how they looked at me like, nigga, I wish I would. I said, yeah, they not coming for the love me. I'm the I looked at their face. I tell they not coming. Hey, why are y'all making all that goddamn noise? Why I gotta keep telling y'all that? Huh?
I understand.
Yeah, she a full-fledged witch. She was supposed to be in the word when I met her. I ain't know that girl. That was their friend.
Who was they?
Shoot, y'all knew her. Y'all the one brought her. I ain't know that girl.
That's y'all friends.
We gonna put her
I bought
we
the
gonna put her address on
She hit the
I
They don't know what to say. You don't know what to say.
What you said? Come again?
I ain't saying that, bro.
Hey, come on. Hey, let's taper it down because I need to finish.
I lost one.
Let me go over here
I
to
ain't
chapter
seen
3.
nothing, bro.
You can look on page 17 from chapter 1 on his sources. Chapter 2, don't mention the reptiles. I'm on page 19. See, I'm gonna probably have to try to set a date just to go live, just to read some of this stuff, the where it's just not a regular where I need to work word in, so that the information is already laid out, and I can interlope word in while I'm reading it, and then when Wednesday and the Sabbath come around, I can just go, because you would already have a reference point that we've already read it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stuff to read. I got a lot of sources, and I know it's going. I already see it's going to be hard for me to difficult for me to balance word and sources at the same time to give a comprehensive overview of these ancient societies and how they lived and how they worshiped and how that relates to the Israelites that were around them. Are you ready for this? I wish I didn't have to introduce the following information because it complicates the story and opens up to mass ridicule. But stuff it. If that is where the evidence takes me, that's where I shall go every time. I don't think the Anunnaki of the Sumerian tablets and the white Martian proposed in Brian Desborough scenario are the same people, although there may be a genetic connection between them. Putting it together, the mass of the evidence. Let me go see. I want to get him talking about where he linked this up with some words. Let me drop down to page 20. He said the Sumerians called the Anunnaki and other ancient texts called the serpent race. It could have well been some others that went to war with this reptilian Anunnaki. Ancient text records these wars of the gods are all over the world, and these include conflicts between extraterrestrial races, as well as those described in Sumerian tablets that appeared to involve Anunnaki factions fighting with each other. Today, there are many modern accounts from people who claim to see some humanoid-type people whose skin and face look like lizards and frogs. That's where Quetzalcoatl comes in this particular chapter. And I'm giving a brief overview. They're saying artificial intelligence is modern-day Ouija boards, like when you invoke Google or Alexa. I'm not sure. I can't say. I've never took the time to see any connection in that in this room. I can't say.
I heard that connection to that is the what they use as the mirror.
Now, mirror. The thing with the mirror, that's called scrying.
Yeah, scrying. That's what. Yeah.
That's in witchcraft. Scrying is when you stand in front of a mirror to call up a familiar spirit. Pretty much, Candyman is a literal example of scrying, but scrying is a real thing that witches really do. I mean, because you're calling up unclean spirits. So, I mean, listen, right? I'm just going to be honest with you. It is not impossible to summon up unclean spirits. Yeah, that's why he tells you can do that. You can summon up unclean spirits. That's why he tells you not to do it, or to fool with those who can. That is not outside the realms of reality. It's only outside the realms of reality because you don't know people who do it. So it doesn't seem tangible and real until you run across people who do it. The same way that Reasonable Doubt TV show, they're looking at it and people were swingers. See, people being swingers is not a reality to you until you meet someone. Do you know what I'm saying? But there's plenty of them out here. Nigga, when I was in high school, there's a girl I knew, she said, yeah, I've been to an orgy before. I'm like, nigga, what? Do you understand what an orgy is? Like in totality, that's a room of at least 10 people. At least 10. Having sexual intercourse with reckless abandon. With total strangers. Swapping partners. But that's not tangible to the average person because you don't live like that and you really don't know people who do. But I guarantee you, all of us know at least 2 to 3 people who live like that. They're just not going to tell you. And I'm talking about you converse with them regularly, but that's their life. I told you my homeboy lived right next door to some swingers. And we used to see them people go in their apartment. I said, well, them niggas a common freak. But you wouldn't believe it because it's not a tangible part of your reality. The same way that a lot of women have a hard time believing how whorish some women can be because you looking at it from your point of view. You think, well, I don't give my coochie away like that. Well, baby, she do. The same way it's hard for a dude to think it's men who mess with men when ain't nobody looking because I ain't doing all that. You know what I'm saying? But buddy over there do. And he do too. And he do too. You know what I'm saying? That's when people are like, nah, bro wouldn't do that. Shoot, lying to me. You know how many dudes that got caught down here on shame, trying to trick with a dude? You remember the Victims Advocate, and they had to have all them people in there caught for prostitution. And a lot of them dudes got caught trying to pick up a man. You know the one who got caught in the Range Rover with the boy. You know who got pulled over in the Range Rover with the boy.
She's like her daughter's like maybe 12. She was just telling this okay when she left out her whole face. She's 4. She's like, when I got divorced, I just left my whole face. Like I was talking to my mom. I was just sitting looking at her like she's like, I just got my whole face like recently. So it's like
there's no such thing as a whole phase. You a hoe.
Like she's like, girl, I was really out there. I was really like okay.
There's a lot of women like that out here. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I don't mean no disrespect, but I would say 3/4 of women in American society are like that. Only because American society promotes that type of behavior. So you can do it with that type of reckless abandon because you can still, there'll be somebody willing to marry you.
She got a boyfriend now. She was like, before him, like we live together now. But she like, before him, I wouldn't even real hungry.
Yeah, I would say 3/4 of, I'm talking especially the younger women. It's culturally accepted. Oh.
His other baby mama was trying to convince me that she killed my cousin, but he died. So just the heart.
So she probably did kill him. Fed him all that damn bad food. His heart quit working.
They wasn't together though. So I was trying to.
She said she put a spell on him.
That's what she said.
I don't even know. I said, remember I said for the witch. And,
Yeah, I know.
She told me that she gave her mother's girlfriend cancer. And I was just like, oh
My God.
Her mother girlfriend?
yeah, and her mother was gay.
Okay.
You ain't give your mother girlfriend no cancer. The Lord gave her cancer. But nah, look here, right? If you want to believe that you did something to somebody, ain't a force on earth gonna tell you that you didn't cast that spell and it worked. That hoe would probably coming up with all type of spells and ain't nothing worked. You know what I'm saying? The carpet muncher come up with cancer and it worked.
She was really proud of it too.
Looks like she said, I know she killed him. She know this nigga smoked cigarettes, ate all the worst food, didn't exercise or nothing. Probably overweight. She put a spell on him. The spell was the hamburgers he kept eating every day. And the lack of exercise. And the half a pack of Newports. You just going to completely just throw all that out the window.
I don't know, but I'm gonna be honest. At first, I never believed her. Like she would tell me all these witch stories. And
These people crazy, man.
Since she moved in during Halloween, I just thought that she was playing a witch. Until I got in the word, I was like, oh shoot, she was serious.
She was a serious witch.
Yeah. And then when I got immersed,
That's right, Mika.
she moved out after I got immersed. So I just.
Oh, I remember. Because you were scared.
Well, she was like, the energy in this house is too much, and I was like, okay. And she's like, I gotta go.
She said, the spirit of God in here, I gotta go. Now, all jokes aside, listen. If this woman is dealing with an unclean spirit, and now somebody has been baptized in the name of God, in the name of the Son of God, and you living uprightly, then that's going to emanate. And guess what? Light and darkness can't exist in the same place at the same time. So the only way she would have been able to exist in that house is if Michael was evil as hell. After being immersed. Because you got people who've been immersed and they can still exist with people who live in a foul fashion because you really as foul as them. I'm not talking about you hang out with them or you pull up and see them. I'm talking about coexist. It's going to be very difficult for righteousness and unrighteousness to coexist in the same place at the same time for an extended period of time. That's why the woman said the energy is off. What she said is there's a different spirit in here contrary to mine. And that spirit is making me have to leave. So I'm going to leave. Because I can't be comfortable here. I can't be wicked here. That's all. Yeah, man, it's a heck of a world we live in. Heck of a world we live in. You understand? But I think that's what I'm gonna try to do, man, if possible. If I can get a date, Lord willing, you know what I'm saying, in between, you know, maybe on a Tuesday, because I ain't gonna tell you no Monday because I'm watching wrestling and football, so I ain't gonna tell you that lie. You know what I'm saying? It has to be on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Because Thursday I'm watching football too. I'm not finna sit here and lie to you. You know what I'm saying? But if I can go live to give you good, 30 minutes of, I'm not finna rightly divide the word per se, but read these sources and then give scriptural, you know what I'm saying, accommodation with these sources. That way it can make it easy. Because if we're going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. That means we'll go back over every God listed in this book again and how they relate to each particular group of people. Oh, he done got up. This nigga done quit. Hold on. This nigga done quit on the job. You see that there? I'm finna fire all you niggas. I want y'all to hear this right here in Deuteronomy 32 and 7. I want y'all to look at something in Deuteronomy 32 and 7 because it's going to be relevant to the point of what we're discussing. Because I didn't even get to kill Kilmash and Milcom because they mentioned in the text that's the God of the Ammonites and the Moabites. Hey, cut out all that damn plant. Go somewhere and sit down with that food. Don't you get your black behind up. No, I don't want to hear nothing about no baby. Man, ain't no ball mall. Deuteronomy 32 and 7. It's my ball mall.
Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Remember the days of what?
Of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you.
Ask your who?
Ask your father, and he will show you. Your elders, and they will tell you.
Your elders will tell you what?
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
Pause. When the Most High divided the nations their what?
Inheritance.
Their what?
Inheritance.
That means every piece of land that every nation got was their inheritance from God. So Yasharal is not the only group of people who he gave an inheritance to. Every group of people got their own land. Read it again.
When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
When he separated the sons of who?
Of Adam.
The sons of who?
Adam.
My God, today.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Yasharal.
So he set the bounds of the people. Tell them what bounds is. Should be borders.
That's a kabula, that's a border or boundary.
So he set the boundaries according to Israel. But you can see that in Genesis 15. Now, why is that important? Each nation got their own boundaries, and we already read from Micah and in 2 Kings 17, they got their own God. Now go to Acts 17 and 20. Now this is the key component once the Lord came.
For you bring certain strange things to our ears, we would know therefore what these things mean. For all the Athenians and strangers which there spent their time in nothing else, but either to tell or to hear some new thing. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, Men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription: The unknown Elohim, whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. Elohim that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is the Lord of Shamahim and earth, dwell not in temples made with hands.
Not in temples made with hands.
Neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything.
He don't need nothing from you.
Seeing he give to all life, breath, and all things, and have made of one blood all nations of men.
He made it from one what?
One blood.
So every nation of men ain't got no different blood. They all the same. Go ahead.
For to dwell on all the face of the earth and have determined the times before appointed in the bounds of their habitation. That they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him.
That's right.
Though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our
being. He did bless Ishmael.
Also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of Elohim, we ought not to think that the Elohim head is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. The times that this ignorant Elohim winked at. But now command all men everywhere to repent.
So now that Mashiach done came, he winked at you serving your own gods, but now he calling you to do what?
Repent.
You see how that works? But I want you to understand this from a historical standpoint. So we're going to probably just go ahead before we get to this apologetic thing. We're just going to go ahead and look at all the guys that's mentioned in this book again and do something that the average Israelite won't do, so that you can know and understand society and culturally and why it was set up this way. Because you know that Yahuwah did not necessarily fool with all these nations because they worship other gods. Because he didn't make a covenant with them to be in to worship him. That's why he said this ignorance he once winked at. Yes. Dagon. That's where that hat that the Pope wear comes from. It symbolizes Dagon, but they try to make it be a symbol for Jesus. But you can see about Dagon in 1 Samuel 5. That's the God whose statue kept falling on the ground in front of the Ark of the Covenant.
I read something on that too, though, where they were saying certain Christians that were trying not to be persecuted was using that symbol.
Yeah,
to fake like they was worshiping Dagon when they really was messing with the book.
And I could go there. I could go for that.
They were like Christians adopted that. I can go for that too. But, you know.
And then of course Emma sent me this right here. The table of God reference, and I can get that to everybody. It's got every God that is mentioned in the text. So we have all that detail. We ain't even got to go through everything. It's already laid out. I can get that set up and sent to everybody. So yes, ma'am.
So you think that's why they try to use like people without symbols to try to get.
Well, they're not trying to get people to worship Dagon. It's just something that's associated with Dagon. And then it just eventually got co-opted into Christian rituals and theology and iconography, if you will.
God is associated with the book because they were doing it already.
Well, they would. Yes. Yes, it is. Because you're not supposed to have any of those type of. We don't do that. And again, that's a modern thing, because the people of antiquity wouldn't have walked around with symbols on. They wouldn't have done that. If they would have did certain things to show forth, I worship this God. People wear crosses because somebody put a chain on the cross and sold it, and people thought they should buy it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part of the consumerism and the social engineering. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, well, I mean, you got a tattoo on the cross, shoot, it's too late. Tattoos is a different thing, because if you had the money to get a tattoo removed, that's your personal business. The average person ain't got the money to get that taken off. I don't see the Lord be like, I'm going to send you to hell, my child, for this cross you got on you. You ain't got to worry about it.
You ain't know.
Oh, I can just text it to you, blood. Because she sent it to me in the notes. So that's what we're going to do. And that can allow me to read these sources, because we've done this before, but this time, because we did it before, but I don't think we did it in depthly as we could have. You know what I'm saying? Oh, only Tuesday. That's what I want me to read these sources, because I got about 5 sources, and that's just to say if Emma don't hit me off with some more sources. You know what I'm saying? Mama step. So that she don't hit me off with some more sources, because she keep them on deck. Lord Marshman got plenty. They working on something as it pertains to that, because this is what I was into before I was in the work. So it's like, dang, I want to read this one, and this one, but I also have to work in, the word has to be preached also. You know what I'm talking about? But I also want you to give you a good snapshot and understanding of, like a lot of people, when you read Chemosh and Milcom in the word, you don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? You don't stop and figure out, well, what's the background story on Chemosh? Who is Milcom? You know about Molech, but you only know about Molech because that's the one who they tossed in the fire. You know what I'm saying? You know Baal, but you don't know about Baal. But this is the reason why Exodus 20 says, have no other God before me. and not to bow down to them. And that's what takes us back to the end, that when you're dealing with the beast, it's going to come down to the one thing he told everybody not to do. And that's worship another God. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why we look at all these things, so that you can identify idolatrous worship from Yahuwah worship, because you see how you mentioned the fish and the cross got co-opted in Christianity? Well, guess what? Israelites co-opted a lot of things from Babylonia and Mesopotamia, and they still doing it. But it's not what the words say to do. And a lot of Israelites don't want to deal with the fact that you doing that. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. He said, I have quite a few. Removal is expensive. Oh yeah, you ain't got to worry about that. You ain't never, listen, if y'all ain't never heard me say nothing about go get your tattoos removed. So what that tell you? You ain't never heard me talk about no verses that deal with that, insinuating none of that, or nothing. So if you can get your tattoos removed, if that's something you want to do, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? Me neither. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never looked at nobody, man. Hey, let me tell y'all something. Just because I finished, and y'all got to keep the same type of standard too, because they think they can go to talking because y'all do it. Like, till it's over with, you got to keep that maintained, or not, they're going to follow your lead and do the same thing. And then I'm going to have to be around here losing my voice because these niggas disrespecting me. And I don't care to do all that. It's not necessary. So, I'll probably get with Mama Steph and see which deity she think we should start with first, or should we just start in order of which deity is mentioned in the book first and just go from there. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you look at what his name, Amalek, the Egyptian king, that man served Yahuwah. What did Yahuwah tell him when he appeared to him in that dream? He said, I know you do this in your integrity and you my servant. When he had took Sarah, when Abraham told him that was his sister. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't a wicked man. He was a servant of God. See, a lot of Israelites don't want to deal with that because they think nobody was a servant of God but Moses starting at Sinai. And that's just bad instruction and teaching. You know what I'm saying? Let me read some of this stuff she sent me to y'all real quick. See, now I'm off the clock, so I don't care about spending a few minutes. Because we had 3 hours, so that's why I said I can't keep doing it. So in there, it mentions Deuteronomy 32:8, what we just read, right? And we got more stuff with that. But, like, of course, you got Yahuwah, and it's get off that table before you break it, bro. We'll talk about El Shaddai and how that's referenced, that some people believe that's a separate deity than Yahuwah. Of course, you got Asherah, you got Baal, Saphon, you have Anat, again, Astarte, Ashtaroth again, you got Gad, you got Molech, you got Chemosh, you got Milcom, you got the god of the Edomites, who we just mentioned. You have Aziel, you have Dagon, you have Beelzebub, which is another god of the Philistines. Amjalek and Amalek, who we just talked about. You know, Nisroch, Baal, Marduk, Tammuz, and many others. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to look at all of them. Look at them from a historical standpoint. And just do it like that. It's like I said, it's been a couple years since we did this. So, you know, it's never a bad thing to go back and revisit certain things and do it again. You know what I'm saying? And also, even with the Egyptians, what we could do is just look at the applicable God of the things that he attacked with them plagues, because it doesn't name them by name. But, you know, you look at the Egyptian god of cattle, the Egyptian god of this, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth when we do it like that. So I think that's what we're going to do. So I appreciate y'all. I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah willing. We'll be back I ain't gonna guarantee you, peace, brother Omar. I'm not gonna guarantee you that that I'll go live and do that Tuesday. But if you get a notification, you'll know what it is. Shalom, Eric, man. Shalom, me. You'll know what it is. So, yes, sir. So, peace, 10K. So, until that time, I bid you adieu. And I'm gonna get with you in a few minutes. Let me get all this stuff put up and whatnot.